Good morning, everyone. We are just gathering, so we'll give some couple of minutes before we start. Thanks for joining. Good morning, Harsh.
Morning, morning, Sandeep. How are you?
Good morning, all. A very warm welcome to all the participants. I'm Aditya Agarwal, and on behalf of Think Tank Chapter Leader, I welcome you all to Think Tank Global Conclave, covering in detail uh, artificial intelligence, and we'll cover financial reporting matters today. As a major part of Think Tank, Vivek Patra. When we say Vivek Patra, Vivek in Sanskrit means knowledge and wisdom, and Patra is innovative news updates containing slides on sharing latest development, real life examples, and these are shared by CEOs, CXOs, CFOs. We have specialists in our panelists, professionals with global experiences. Today we have Think Tank webinar for all stakeholders in finance, corporate affairs, industry, and professions. Think Tank has been in existence since over a decade. It was on 6 January 1991. This idea has come to have a platform wherein CEOs, CXOs, CFOs, panelists, and specialists can come together and start sharing their experiences and real life examples. Our panelists are finance leaders working in reputed companies or professions since many years and have a deep domain knowledge. Think Tank platform is now digital and has got overwhelming response globally on digital medium, expanding through uh, sources like Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Our participants and experts have rich experience in industry professions and they have good qualifications, reputed qualifications like Chartered Accountancy, Chartered Accountancy of England and Wales, CPAs, CFAs, CFEs, IAMs, company secretaries, CMAs, ISA, ISA, DISA, FRM, IFRS, BTEC, PhDs, and many more. They come on this platform to share their experiences. We have a website wherein we post all our informations, which is www.thinktanks.co.in. Um, in spite of limited resources, every one of us gather here and share our experiences. Today, we will be launching one Vivek Patra newsletter. We will launch it later during the day. It is about India growth story. This is a comprehensive conference material, which is a compilation in 500 pages, wherein all those experiences, presentations, and those important informations we just capture in there so that it is easily accessible by people. We will also be covering important and latest developments uh, as suggested by many participants in coming weeks. We request all to subscribe to Think Tank YouTube channel for watching summits, conclaves, webinars. Join, connect, and network on YouTube webinar group on LinkedIn and Facebook pages, specially created on suggestion by many participants and panelists. We once again welcome all members and panel sharing few insight on Vivek Think Tank Patra India Growth Story. I especially thanks everyone who are making this thing happen through digital support and through contributions in some way or the other. Uh, uh, the list is long, but we do want to highlight on people like Anupam, Anurag, Ashwari, Hemant, Santosh, Mitesh, Sandeep, Praveen, Rakesh, Rucha, Archana. Pramod, Arkanan, Manish, Vijay, Mihir, Yogesh, and others for regularly contributing to the think tank at Vivek Patra. With this, I'll not take much of your time. I'll just hand it over to Sandeep, who will take us through the latest listing, and we'll understand more about what exactly happened after the listing and what was the analysis. Sandeep, over to you.
Thank you, Aditya. It's great to be back here talking to you all. It's a slightly, I would say, stretched presentation from my side, which will cover rather the IPO review as usual. I want to specifically take up the Nifty charts and then the latest on what has come out in terms of the results, which was HDFC Bank. And thereafter, the Companies Act amendments, where it's been useful to it'll be useful to go through the things in Schedule 3, where there have been changes and there are changes which have been made, particularly keeping in mind the governance practices enhancements. So I'll straight away go into, first of all, the IPO reviews. But in terms of disclosures, I once again actually repeatedly, I would say, tell participants to go to their own stockbrokers, investment advisors in their own country before buying or selling in any investment class or financial instrument. The speakers here would be, expressing their own views and not the views of any organization. And speakers are not responsible for the investment decisions made based on the discussions during the sessions. So if there is a forward-looking stance which is taken by the speaker, please do not hold us responsible. It is just a position which we might envisage going forward. But from your point of view, it's more important to have a consultant in the form of an investment advisor who will advise you on buying and selling of shares or any other class of investments. To come to the point, the review of the IPOs, which were there in March and April, suddenly you would have seen April, there are, after Macrotech developers which came in with their issue, there's been a lull in the market. Presumably, and not presumably, this was expected actually from the point of view of about a month back. You would remember that, the essence of what happens to the IPOs and the secondary markets were discussed on this panel itself, where we said that, from the point of view of the secondary markets, if they start, peaking out, and if there's a rush of IPOs coming in with essential, the fundamentals not keeping pace with the IPO which is coming in, then it would be a problem. And that's exactly what has happened really. And if you see, what really has happened is, in terms of Harbana Industries, the listing was at around 900 and it went to 945, whereas the current market price, the current market price is not 10th of April, but it's the 23rd of April. That's an error there. So for all the prices should be considered as 23rd of April. MStar Technologies was the only one, and rather the only one which actually has been doing well, though it has come down a bit from its listing price. The high was 1155, currently trading at 958. Ease My Trip, we brought to you the governance practices, the problems which are there in Ease My Trip when we gave out the review for the IPO before it came in. And you would see that, against the listed against the price band of 186 to 187, the current price is 178 after having touched a figure of 233 earlier. Anupam Rasayan is right now at 590, doing slightly better than the others. Craftsman Auto is well below the price band which was there when the issue took place, 1488 to 1490, whereas 1490 exactly was the price on the listing day, and then it's come down to 1284. Lakshmi Organic, this again is a stellar. In fact, it is the main purpose and the main reason for this being priced in a manner which is quite okay, even in the current scenario of the markets, is the sector in which it belongs. And it's been strong against a price band of 129 to 130. The current price stands at 179. Kalyan Jewelers, you may all remember, it had a lackluster, IPO with the retail guys not really investing a lot in it. Against a price band of 86, 87, the price currently is 66. Nazara has been doing well, and even at the point when, again, when the IPO reviews were taking place, this is in a segment again which is IT, and you would see that IT and pharma are the only ones really shouldering the responsibility of the prices on the stock markets on a secondary basis. Currently its price right now is at 1690. In fact, yesterday it went up substantially by about 60 to 70 rupees. Sarvodaya Bank, as you all know, we had guessed that right. It's a long-term buy, but it is not a short-term buy by all means. Price at around 249 currently. Barbecue Nation, I'm surprised with the current market price of 641. I won't have anything to say with it because I'm not too sure of how that gets reflected, because most of the restaurants are closed. The issue was not a great issue, but it's as I said, at a price of 641, I feel it's where it is. I don't want to comment on it. Macrotech Developers, again, lackluster in terms of the retail investors. Current price 531 against a price of 483 to 486, which was the price band. It's been moving up steadily. I'm not sure, again, the last two, Barbecue Nations as well as Macrotech, not too sure how and why the prices are moving up. To go to the, and for all that matters, suddenly you have seen with the COVID pandemic again raising its head, you have seen the secondary markets have come down. What has happened is these primary markets have suddenly dried up altogether. So where we are in a situation where the pandemic might be peaking, maybe peaking in the next 2 to 3 weeks, one never knows. So it's a situation which is not only there in the primary market, it's reflected on the charts on the secondary markets as well. To come to the chart of the Nifty, after the high of 15,431, prices yesterday have fallen to 14,341. As I said, it's a question mark on where would the pandemic peak out. That's the most important thing. And whether or not it peaks out in 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I would urge each one of you to stay safe, because that's the need of the hour. Masking is absolutely necessary with the current scenario of what the mutant virus which is prevailing. Even in your society, if you want to go down, please wear double masks, and that is very, very essential. And don't wear masks which are loose on your nose and the mouth. Let it be a little tight so that the air around does not go through, unfortunately, it should not so happen that the virus affects you. So please be careful, and the next 2 or 3 weeks will be crucial, not only from the point of view of the pandemic, also from the point of view of the stock markets in general. If you see the chart there, it's coming and is resting on the lower end of the Bollinger Bands, which is acting as a support for it. Whether or not it actually breaks through that band is something which we'll have to check out. Obviously, if you have heard me speak on technical analysis, you will see that overall the point of view is that the markets are negative, because it is yet to show a higher top and higher bottom after the reversal from the 15,000 levels. So it's been consistently making lower tops and lower bottoms. So if you see, in fact, I'll show the cursor. Here is a top which was created, a very, very minor top, and this is again a top which was made, which is again a lower top, and it has gone on to make a lower bottom. To go to the and for all practical purposes, you have all the oscillators in the negative zone. Right now, I wouldn't hazard a guess. The next chart will show you where we stand, and where we stand here is something very, very interesting. We had seen, and if you have attended the earlier sessions on technical analysis, you would have seen what happens in terms of patterns. And patterns mean here, if you join two tops and two bottoms, mind you, this is the chart on a closing basis and not an intraday basis. The previous chart was an intraday chart. The next chart, which is reflected on the screen right now, is a chart which shows you prices on a closing basis, that is, close on a particular day. And if you see, all through, it has been going through, 1, 2, 3 bottoms have been joined, and the prices are lurching in these I should say pattern which is there, not only within the pattern, but it is very, very close to the support levels. The support levels are placed at 14,300, and I've also maintained that this level is going to be crucial. Twice or thrice, what has happened is you have had intraday movement below this 14,300, but it has sustained, and only on one particular day has prices actually gone below 14,300 to close at 14,296. The movement next week will be very, very important. now to come to one more thing where it's an interesting situation. You would have seen the bank Nifty has also come down from nearly the 36,000 levels to somewhere around the 32,000 levels. What has happened in the meantime? Again, the pandemic has raised its head. The effect on the banks is obvious. And what has happened to HDFC Bank, which is the flag bearer for the banks in India? They came out with the results last week and showed revenues of 24,714 crores for the quarter ended 31st March 2021 against the quarter ended 31st March 20, which was 21,236 crores, a percentage change of 16.4%. Net interest income was 17,120 crores versus 15,204 crores, which is a percentage change of 12.6%. Advances have grown by 14%, which is quite good, from 9,93,702.9 crores to 11,32,836.6 crores as of 31st of March 2021. Now, which showing a percentage change of 14%. If you look at these results, you would say, oh, these are quite good results actually. But you come on the right hand side and you'll come to know why the street is seeing it as not so good a result. Now, if you see, I put a note on net revenues. Out of the total revenues of net revenues of 24,714, 13,760.24 crores represents other income or income from investments in FY21 as against 11,123.27 crores, which is a rise of approximately 24%. And from there, you'll come to know what is the reason for the net revenues to grow. What happens in the next bullet? The gross NPAs rose from 12,650 crores to 15,086 crores, a rise of 19%. Net NPAs rose from 3,542 crores to 4,554 crores, a jump of 28%. Operating profits before provisions and contingencies grew from 12,959 crores to 15,533 crores, an approximately 20% rise. However, profits before tax grew from 9,174 crores to 10,839 crores, a rise of 18% due to higher provisionings and factors where they would have provided a few other things in taking into account a provisioning required for the future as well. That's quite possible. That's quite possible from the point of view of a conservative bank, but that's the scenario as it stands. Revenue growth has been due to increase in the treasury income from 6,907 crores to 8,036 crores, which is a rise of 16%. In fact, revenues from retail, the issue is revenues from retail, and I again say this, revenues from retail and wholesale banking have actually fallen, whereas income from treasuries has gone up. So you'll see the composition of the revenues which have been earned. Now to come to some of the ratios which are there, the price to book, and I've compared that to the other banks which are, called the peers in private sector banks in India. You have the price to book at 3.72 versus 4.22 for Kotak, 2.04 for Axis Bank, and 2.65 for ICICI Bank.
Sandeep ji, can I interrupt?
Haji.
Sorry, I have a little less knowledge on this. If you can help me to understand price to book, what exactly this terminology means?
Yeah. You have hello.
Yeah, Sandeep ji.
Okay. You have the price, which is the market price, which is there, and just one second.
Sure.
So is it the price of the share in the market plus the book value of the share as per share capital and the reserves what they have divided by the number of shares?
Number of shares, yes.
Yeah, so that
No,
that
but
ratio is this price to book value of the share.
Okay.
May I say something? This is
Yeah, proceed.
well, this will not be divided by the number of shares. What I feel is, according to me, it is market price per share divided by the book value per share.
Yeah, that's what
Net asset value per share. So your market price divided by the book value per share.
yeah, that is what, like the book value per share. I was just telling you the definition of that. The book value per share will
just
be
one
the
second, please.
capital
I'll
plus
just come back.
reserve divided by number of shares.
Yeah.
So when we use that ratio, then it becomes like price of the share in the market divided by the book value of the share.
Yeah, so to interpret this, it means if price to book value is 3.72 for HDFC Bank, it means the price is 3.72 times more than the book value of the share. It's 3.72 times the book value of the share.
It is times. It is times
Yeah,
the book value.
times the book value of the share. Yeah.
Yeah. So a 1400 rupee share, which is then in the market, will have a book value of around 350 or 400.
So बड़ा बात नहीं हो गया ना?
नहीं सर, एकदम नहीं.
तो
सर,
एक बात है, आप सब है ना पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक को ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं देते हैं. पूरा प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक, ये बैंक बड़ा डार्लिंग है, but none of the bank can be away from the economy. So whatever is happening in economy, that will be getting reflected in the market value of their share. So some of them used to depend on retail more. Now it is cleared after this COVID, the retail portfolio will, please, what is the sound? The retail portfolio is likely to get affected, and the income of the people, the loss of job. So what fear in the market is, as against the top corporate, the mid-level company, as well as the SMEs and the retail portfolio. And if you ask me, some of these new generation banks, they never used to take care of any project finance and all that. So they are more on the non-fund based and the cream business. So now their focus may have to be see how they can be able to still grow the retail book and still continue to earn. And as Sandeep has said, see this treasury income, these are all not connection to this bank, or just generally treasury income. Now, if the interest rate goes up, which is the market is pressurizing for the 10-year yield and all the shorter end also to go up and the interest rate to increase. But the RBI, due to the pressure of liquid, what you call ensuring accommodative policy, they are not increasing and they are trying their best to hold the 10-year yield. Now, that's why they are refusing 1 meter. So if this goes up and the trading opportunity will come down for some time, and other than the held to maturity, other portfolio also gets down, so the treasury income can come down. So this bank now has encashed the treasury income in this period. Now how that will remain in future, that is to be seen. And because sometimes when the increasing interest rate, sometimes until that gets stabilized, no, there will be provision to be made also. One more thing is when the lower interest rate, the yield on investment also will come down. So only the incremental now, if the interest rate starts going, then the yield will go up. Having encashed the whatever premium available through this methodology, the overall yield on investment also may come down. Okay, Sandeep.
Yeah, thanks a lot for these lovely words, Mr. Narendra.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Sandeep.
you got to know the price to book, how it is evaluated. Now, you know, the PE ratios, again, I hope I don't have to explain to you how that is derived, and the capital adequacy ratios. Now, the issue here is, I've not pointed that out, and this is something which I have to point out, because HDFC Bank has come out with their results. What is reflected here is the results, the data from the results actually for HDFC Bank, whereas Kotak, Axis, and ICICI Bank, those are for the December quarter. So those will vary slightly, and depending on how they perform and come out with the results, that will reflect in the future as well. So this is a reflection of how the trend is. So you'll have to be careful while investing in private sector banks as well.
But whenever there are good reduction
Opportunities.
in the opportunity, in the sense that the price goes down substantially due to any factors, then these banks, particularly HDFC, Kotak and all, are the one which could be purchased also. So what do you feel, Sandeep?
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct.
So what is the time of entry is very important.
Yeah, that is true. And I'll come to the charts of HDFC Bank on the next slide, and that will give you an indication. Now, the only thing which, you know, I want to actually have two things which are there. One is the Reserve Bank has been coming heavily on HDFC Bank for the problems which they have been facing on the IT front. That is number one. That I have not reflected in the slide again. That is one. Secondly, if you remember, a lot of, you know, at least twice or thrice, the portfolio of HDFC Limited was picked up by HDFC Bank. How much that has affected the profitability situation for HDFC Bank, I'm not too sure of that. But there might have been some effect, because that would have been retail loans which might have been taken over by HDFC Bank. नरेंद्र साहब, आपको जानकारी है इसके बारे में?
नहीं, वो आपने बताया ये regarding this digital problems. I saw the CEO of the bank some paper report that they issued what you call communication to all the staff that they are much better now, and they have taken all proactive measures, and all that incident which even happened as set up the March also, I think, are not likely to get further that type. Meanwhile, Reserve Bank inspection has been going on. Whether they completed that inspection and also maybe an expert doing, not for the Reserve Bank staff. So once that goes into RBI consideration, and when they find that things are better and they are in all care, they have taken proper care to withstand the incremental so much volume of business, which is a fact now. In the COVID, all will be through the digital banking. So then they may remove the ban on them in terms of not issuing any credit debit cards. And for your information, yesterday, American Express Bank also,
yes,
I think the ban has been imposed. And regarding see that securitization that today that is some will be doing on origination and some will be purchasing, and the banks like these new generation banks, which had also the earlier expertise in origination, but they, because they have enough capital, see, when at the right time they have raised the capital, now you have to leverage the capital, and that's where they have to purchase these, and purchasing from its own parent, and who are supposed to be expert in home finance, that may not be a negative factor, but and the portfolio, it is ideally believed that HDFC portfolio may be fairly better, and they get the rated done, and they get the evaluation, and but sometimes in such securitization, I think sometimes the profitability or whatever, suppose in the difference in interest rate in purchasing, sometimes they book in advance. Now after this IndAS and all, which must have not come in the banking, you cannot book that profit for that year. It has to be spread over the period of the remaining period of the portfolio. So other than that, I'm not sure how much they have purchased. But today, all these new generation bank, either the microfinance or retail portfolio, because they have to ensure 20-25% growth in their overall business, and continuously they are doing. And that's how they are ensuring that all other aspect of business. The market per se, suppose the credit is growing hardly 6.5%. How any other bank can grow? You can go what you call 25% above the market rate. But if they are growing much above that, then they have to grow only through this mode. Mechanism. Like here, no, advance have grown by 14%. Now this 14% will be by securitization. And if you, because during the COVID, a lot of people went for housing finance, and the state government, particularly in Maharashtra, given a good stamp duty benefit, and even in other state like Karnataka also has given. So those of them who had the source of income, they have gone for good houses, and the prices were also reasonably better. So that would have helped this bank. And to that extent, today, whether State Bank or Bank of Baroda or Punjab National Bank, all of them, now they are also the retail portfolio during the recent maybe 5 to 7 years, they have developed, and State Bank wants to go in a big way. And even in microfinance, they have made a separate division, and inclusive growth, financial inclusion, they have also made a separate, because they find these are the areas of future growth. Because corporate will depend more on debt market, and they will already taken a lot of money, and they are in a cash reserve surplus, the top corporate, I mean. So their other income we have to extract. And if the private sector investment starts after all this COVID, everything gone, and if the capacity goes to 80-85% capacity utilization, then you will see, other than the road and other infrastructure, some more capacity building in the, and all these top corporate will start investing. This is the golden period for them, with the PLI scheme, as well as other focus given like textile park, and the government has given them for the incremental investment only 15% tax. So in the sense, new company, if they are doing a manufacturing and all, so if they don't wake up, that is where animal spirit, which our FM is intending all of this, and she is interacting with the corporate so much that, because they are the only now source of government to grow its tax revenue as well as the overall GDP. Yeah, Sandeep.
Yeah. So the last thing which I wanted to actually point out is the capital adequacy, which is 18.8%, and Kotak is 21.5%. They are sitting pretty. What I want to actually highlight here on this aspect is that HDFC Bank has already come out with an intent where they want to raise about 50,000 crores in tier 1 capital during the financial year. And how that goes through, and how that plugs out all the liquidity which has been there in the market. Now, these banks are well placed to actually raise capital. And what happens to the other banks when they want to enter the market and raise capital is a question which everyone has to think about. And first of all, how much is going to be the problem for HDFC themselves in terms of raising capital of 50,000 crores, which is not definitely not a small amount. Now, I would request, in fact, if
Sandeep ji, during this period when you don't get much interest income, I don't find that for the, of course, 50,000 crores also, they will not bring at a time. They will pace it out. And today, Reserve Bank Governor also saying that due to not only to meet the shock of this type of COVID and such this one, for your growth capital and all that, you must have the capital. So the new generation bank took the lead and they raised during the COVID last year 70,000 crores. And some of the public sector bank also raised maybe tier 1 capital limitedly, and some of them were all your what you call perpetual bond. They also raised 25,000 crores plus. So what I mean to say, in Indian context, other than the COVID effect, for a good issue in terms of the futuristic projection of their overall performance at a attractive pricing. What I want that they give attractive pricing, getting raised capital are not difficult. And in that respect, new generation banks have all globally also, not only domestic. Like sometime back, I think Axis Bank, all of them raised international capital. That is from the foreign sources. So if they raise such funds, only as we are all talking about the what you call growth story, that needs to be revived, because if international investors start feeling that they are getting a better return, that is inflation adjusted in elsewhere, now you find that they have been withdrawing the money from the market. So for a liquidity other than the domestic institutional investors who are particularly long-term investors like LIC and other insurance funds or pension fund and general retail investors, you need a supplement by the foreign portfolio investment. So India has to get into the, because even for 2-3 years, I think whether a GDP growth of stabilized at 5 to 6%, whether we are able to hold on or are we come below 5, that is the issue which have been be in the minds of some of the economists. That because the fiscal space also being lower, you are borrowed quite lightly higher for a bigger country like UK, particularly USA and all. Even you borrow all that, they have a wherewithal to still have the to revive the economy, which is now visible. Now their interest rates have started going up, and their economy has been a positive mode, and they are coming back well. And even China is also getting a very good growth. So some of them have, even though initially like US, were found difficult to manage the COVID, now they have revised it, and they have also given a lot of fiscal and revenue push. So India now we have to, but our just for a little to bring out the point only, India, our finance minister or what I call PM also, during the budget, they have brought far-reaching changes in transformational changes. If all that measures are getting into execution, I don't think that India story still come and people will come here. And with the consumption getting revived, with the temporary this halt, you forget. What we are looking at 2 to 3 years, and that period, if it is good, then I think all our this type of new generation banks, and there will be good period. And you are also aware that we are also likely to see whether when the privatization of 2 public sector banks are done. Now all the question is who are going to invest, whether this new generation bank will invest in that and take over that bank, or foreign institutional investor will take, and whether government will do 100% privatization or partial privatization. And when all that happens, then the interest in the banking sector also will go up. So that aspect, all the other public sector bank, if they are very attractive proposition today, which I think market, I am not a investor, but all of you would have already taken some exposure in this public sector bank, because current value, they are at a better option to get them also, because futuristically, they will be having a good opportunity. Thank you, Sandeep.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm through with this. The only last
And another Sandeep ji, आपने वो IPO का सभी issue कभी आपने बताया ना?
हाँ जी.
उसमें ऐसा, suppose not that some of them have really shown good growth, but now you must next time when you present this by study, you must say at what price in the secondary market, which company out of that in a period of say 3 to 5 years or 10 years have an opportunity to what you call have the long term or medium term benefit, and you should invest. What I'm telling, one IPO time, that is some people take the advantage if they have a proper assessment. Otherwise, then after the issue is issued, a few will perform, few will come down. Now, whenever the IPOs are there, people feel, okay, why should I take now? I am sure they are going to come down, so I can take from the secondary market. Now, the question is, which are fundamentally and in a predictive analysis, they are good belt. And like, you said Lakshmi Organics, that is a sector wise, they have a very good scope. Then some of that Nazara technologies that are, or MTR technology, all that are doing well. So whether sector wise, company wise, when these shares could be purchased for a few of them, our audience who may be wanting to enter, that you can next time study.
Okay, that is something which would be actually futuristic outlook, which generally is not given out in this think tank, but
yes,
I
and
can
you should
try
have
to,
a disclaimer also, correct? Generally,
I can, yeah,
yes.
I can give you a feeler of how it can look like
Yes,
in the
yes.
future, because there are two things. One, I'll tell you very frankly, I not being a real fundamental and analyst, as they call people. I'm not a fundamental analyst. I am a technical analyst by by choice. And what happens in that case is I get biased by, if I get biased by fundamental analysis, my technicals go for a toss. And for technicals, the history of trading for a particular script, for a particular stock, at least should be there for about a year and a half. Only then can I assess what can be the situation for that particular stock. Of course, fundamental, there will definitely be fundamental analyst. Mitesh, you can actually take this suggestion forward. Aditya, you could actually take this forward as well. But we definitely will, come out with...
Yeah. You can't get mixed with your approach. It's a really good thing. You get a frank. And another thing is, we as a whatever analyst or whatever thing, it is our opinion. May not be that it can be the perfect opinion, and people have to
Obviously,
take their own
disclaimer
care.
always stands.
And we are not a portfolio investor also. We are only for knowledge here. So I appreciate your point. Then I was generally feeling that when we present some of the IPO scheme, one factor may be who are those people who will take a long-term interest in that, and what is the long-term prospect of this company, maybe medium-term, say 3 years. And if that is the case, the secondary market also will get a push, and that may be the reflected here. Now, the company which are still showing growth is due to the fact that so many investors find there is a still juice to be taken, and they are likely to go for a higher price to earning ratio, or the as well as the price to equity, or what you call book value. So that's how it is coming. So this much, just I also are not a big expert, nor I am having investment. Some for analysis, article discussion purpose. Sandeep, I told you. You can
sure, sir. Yeah. I'll definitely keep that in mind, and try to do it. In fact,
we can bring other. We can bring Manoj. We can bring other market experts also. That is nothing. Today, exactly. Whether Motilal Oswal or all these big players, they look for opportunity, and they will give a good presentation and say These are our opinion, and of course, if you have to become a member of them, then your level of portfolio should be very high. But that opportunity, people understanding, and it becomes little interesting discussion also. Yeah. Thank you,
Definitely,
Sandeep.
sir. Definitely.
Yeah, Sandeep, Dushyant, I would like to have a couple of points.
हाँ जी,
One,
बोलिए।
one.
आपका फेस थोड़ा आगे आइए, फेस दिखता नहीं ज्यादा।
अभी बराबर है?
अभी बराबर है।
अभी ठीक है दुष्यंत जी।
I'm not able to see my face on the screen, that's why. Okay.
अच्छा, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Manoj.
Oh, wonderful. I was trying to connect. I would like to share a few thoughts. There was a talk about book value, and there was also a talk about valuation of PSU banks raised by Mr. M. Narendra. A few thoughts here. This bank, HDFC Bank, has a good price to book multiple, but book value currently has no relevant. It is fair value. Fair value takes care of all the expected profits and the realizable assets also, net of liabilities, and main is key is expected profits. So that is very, very vital. There are banks which have got 4 price to book value. There are lots of companies which have got 10 to 15 or even 20 times price to book value. There are some which are at 20% of book value. Everybody knows there are a lot of impairments done or necessary which are not accounted. Often in the books you have goodwill which is not amortized. Second thing is the question of valuation of PSU banks. Mr. M. Narendra, we had discussed on 2nd of January when we began the that they are highly undervalued, and time has proved correct. In spite of a recent correction last week because of the second wave, many of the banks have gone up by around 20 to 40%, including State Bank of India. So those points are really valid. I thought I will share my observations on these key issues now. And as we see, Kotak has a good price to book multiple, and the price to book of ICICI Bank has been improving in the last 2 years. It had gone to almost, much lower because of the cleaning up of the bank and a better management, and also growth in retail deposits and firing on all the 4 cylinders, including the insurance and the mutual funds arm. The price book has improved, and some of the foreign brokerages expect further improvement on this. So good analysis on the results. So yeah.
Manoj. So
Dushyant, you are saying something.
Yeah. So first of all, I must appreciate Sandeep that you have done a wonderful, analysis of these HDFC Bank working. In a nutshell, you have given all good key points. Now, going forward, when HDFC revenue, if somebody dissects, then only you'll come to know that investment income and other income and treasury income has actually contributed much more rather than operational income. Then the same will be the case possibly with other banks also, because their March results have not come. So I think, on face of it, it looks like that the results are rosy, but possibly this COVID impact is definitely coming in.
Definitely.
Yeah, and as Mr. Narendra said that, 2 years back, everybody wanted to get into retail. Now, I think because of the COVID impact, now banks are again thinking, not going aggressively on retail. So it's happening like, the business strategies are a sort of realigned, in keeping in line with the present situation. So going forward, it is anybody's guess how the banking sector will perform, including public sector. Why? Because public sector has taken a lot of load of industrial financing, project financing, as Mr. Narendra said. And these private sector banks have non-fund based kind of lot of activities. However, both are important for the economy. So going forward, let's see how the banking sector takes up the challenge of these COVID issues.
Right.
Yeah. Now,
And
thanks a lot.
Sandeep ji, that
Boliye.
Dushyant, what I'm used to say, in the public sector bank, even after the recent Supreme Court directive that you have to take all your accounts which were remained standstill. That also during the earlier quarter they have made provisioning, and the legacy accounts are all almost solved, and now the IBC also has been resumed. So one other than this current surge in COVID, if the banks have already legacy totally they have a provision coverage also has gone up recent days up to 80% plus. So there in that case, other than the credit growth which and other opportunity for business, which only when this situation resumes, you may not have so much surprise from the other banking industry in terms of the NPA. And of course, that your point in HDFC Bank, it is well taken. One more issue that some of the new generation bank were very active in the unsecured loan, that is through the credit card, and maybe on their own for the personal segment they would have given unsecured. Now that sector, what I am seeing in paper, that it is likely to get suffered. And today during this period, who will spend more on credit card for unnecessary things? So if that growth of the credit as well as the existing portfolio, if them becomes any NPA, then you may find some incremental NPA from there. So I request Sandeep, if you from your market source, this gross NPA growing up of HDFC, what are the breakup of that incremental NPA? That may be a relevant issue.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah,
I will have to actually check that out, because how much is MSMEs, how much is MSMEs, how much is the retail section?
Mitesh, आप
Yeah.
off करिए. Mitesh का है वो.
Yeah, I'll get a hang of it and possibly, come out with that in the next 15 days.
Yeah, and Mr. M. Narendra, we will do a detailed insights when annual reports comes out, because lots of information is mentioned in annual reports. So when it comes out, I think, Sandeep, we can look at the comparison of various banks also.
That is true. Absolutely true.
We'll do that.
That'll be good.
Yeah, and after this HDFC Bank coverage, I wonder if we can have this artificial intelligence presentation. All of us can interact, and further things we can take off after the AI presentation. Both Manali and Harsh have worked, I think, for over 2 months to see that we have innovative new topics. Yeah.
Manoj, just on the point of the banking sector.
Yeah.
There have been discussions which I have been seeing on one, price to book. Let me tell you that price to book, if it is lower, doesn't mean that it is not good. It is in fact good if the price to book is lower. For example, Axis Bank, and if the future is good, it'll be good for the bank. The other thing which people have been talking about is retail banking versus wholesale banking. Now, let me tell you one thing which is very clear, and I think all of us being in this industry, the financial services industry, and all our chartered accountants, mostly other professionals as well, the income generated by way of wholesale banking, or the other name which you give for wholesale banking is corporate banking. The income generated, the net income generated out of the wholesale banking is much higher than the retail banking. So if people were to actually shift from retail banking to wholesale banking, it is good. But the only point is the government as well as the RBI always looks for retail banking to push, what they call impact banking. And that is one reason why they might not allow all the banks to actually raise their focus on wholesale banking. So that is something which we might have to look for going down the, down the line. How RBI reacts, how the government reacts is something which we'll have to look out for. Manoj, you had asked me actually also for Schedule 3 changes to the Companies Act.
Sandeep, can we cover Schedule 3 after we have AI?
After AI, okay.
Yes.
Manojji, I just have one thing to add on this Sandeepji's presentation. Just one quick
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So two things over here. One is if we talk whether it is a private bank or a PSU bank, PSU bank has lot of overseas branches, and when I have done this practical experience shows that there the larger business is only giving the loans to the Indian entities, which are in fact turning to be NPA. And to set up a one branch over there in the overseas, there is an investment of 100 CR, which they have to show as per the regulatory norms. So that is one thing which is taking back the PSU bank. And secondly, both PSU and private banks want to become the global leaders like Bank of America or Citibank. They should have the robust mega risk management cell where both positive risk and negative risk globally gets captured. Wherever there is an exposure, say for example, if there is any change in textile policy in one particular country, how their exposure is getting impacted, and whether they have a less exposure, they should increase that exposure as well. That also they should cover it. So I had a word with SBI also on this. They said that the idea is quite good. The current risk management cell doesn't have to that level, and they need to take up with the PPC. It's called Policy Procedures and Cell Division, but then it is taking its own time. Still, they have not come up with. Yeah, that's it.
Very valid points. I would just add the current risk management in Indian banks, as also shared by RBI, are quite good thanks to experts like you in governance, risk and compliance. What is needed to take on global banks is not just risk management systems which are in India at par with the best in the world, even better. It is required is size. We had to compete in size. Today we are fragmented banks. There are hundreds, over 500 banks in India. We need to consolidate and take them it on size. We have to have maximum number of banks in the top 100. And hopefully in further in future, Chinese banks will become weaker and Indian banks will become stronger. Once we are in the top 50, in the top 10, we can take on anybody. And you mentioned about branches giving loans to Indian entities. At one time, that was a huge opportunity. It is almost giving free margins. You have Indian customer which is expanding like Tatas and Mahindras and all that, who are really good customers. And if they are acquiring an overseas company and you give them loans, why not? It adds to margins and adds to ROI and ROEs. But valid point for discussion.
मनोज जी, वो
Yeah.
मितेश का पॉइंट में that the international presence of this public sector bank sometime back by the intervention of the Department of Financial Services, that has been rationalized, and some of the unproductive branches in one branch in one particular country, and they are not getting any business. Some of them have been closed. Now the number of overseas branches have come down, and in particular major location only, like suppose you have Hong Kong 3 branches, they have reduced to 1. And similarly, some of the banks which are not having much presence, why they need to have. So these cost cutting have been done, and international presence is necessitated due to country, whatever we have a understanding, and we find a lot of India investors are taking interest. Then particularly State Bank, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, and some other banks like they will take interest. And there are quite a lot of public sector banks who don't have any overseas presence. So that aspect, but this is the right time for all the banks. If the Indian growth story starts, you raise money from abroad, because today the interest rate in abroad is still lower, and a lot of corporates have raised money abroad and they have refinanced the domestic loan. So through that extent, that raising money is opportunities going to other investors. Now why not Indian bank take that benefit? So that is the but that opening the branch and all currently, so that the banks, public sector banks, have also cut down unnecessary expenses. Okay.
Right now, before we move to the smarter and younger generation, Sandeep, I see the chart of HDFC Bank.
That's right.
Would you like to share the view based on what the chart is speaking?
It's not the view, it's from where it has come. It's in line with the banking, the bank Nifty. It has come down from 1641 to approximately 1368. And if you see that line of 1334, I think maybe 1368 around
HDFC
this
Bank
level. I think that's the support level which it has. So if it breaks it, again, it's going to be an issue. And everything is now dependent on the next few days on how things pan out. Now, if the pandemic, the number of people actually getting affected by the pandemic, if it goes higher and higher, and if we have imminent lockdowns, then it's a problematic issue. So unless you go into that type of a situation, this support level, if it is actually maintained, is something which will be looked at by the investors.
I think you're
So
talking
between the
fundamental
1334 to
analysis.
the 1368 levels.
Okay, I think you're talking about techno-fundamental analysis. Technical analysis, the chart speaks by itself. But wonderful views. Now, can you see the smarter and younger generation? Harsh, is he there?
Sir, Manoj, I did not give any fundamental view, but I am saying I did not want to give you a technical view. I did not want to take a forward-looking technical view on the stock, only
Understood. Well
because,
taken.
yeah. So
Well taken, and a
it is
disclaimer
a question
applies.
mark.
Yeah, disclaimer applies. Please consult your stockbrokers and investment bankers before doing any transaction. Can you see younger generation, Mr. Harsh?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, welcome, Harsh.
Thanks, Manoj, for inviting me for the session. Really.
Harsh, any questions for Mr. M. Narendra, Sandeep, Dushyant? Lots of experts here, Mitesh, many more. Then you can go on artificial intelligence. All these people have got natural intelligence. So now from natural, we'll move to artificial.
Yeah.
First, you can test your natural intelligence. We are all ready for you.
Manoj is the leader in natural intelligence.
We are all leaders, and Harsh is a global leader.
अभी मनोज है ना, वो ऐसे एक नेचुरल सेक्टर में गए हैं, बहुत यंग एंड यंग दिखता है और ब्राइट दिखता है, देखो.
Right. I would like to move the laptop around and show you the natural beauty of India. Just meters away.
And the specs are gone.
Yeah, just for the lighter moment. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah. So regarding that natural intelligence versus artificial intelligence you mentioned, right? So one of my actual friends, Gary Fowler, based out of Silicon Valley, we were just discussing, what kind of ethics that we can, kind of incorporate in artificial intelligence, because pretty soon it will kind of, take over, it's going to surpass natural intelligence as well. So that is what, essentially, but still in the early stages, trying to figure out how we can take that further. So let me start with presenting my screen. Is my screen visible?
Harsh, go on the next slide. Go on the next.
Okay, it's visible. Okay. I was just checking if it's
go on the next slide.
Others can
than this one.
Others can mute. Then there will not be disturbance.
Sure.
Yeah. So, go on the next one. That is more important than this one.
Yeah. So this is just
Go on the next slide. Go on the next slide.
I've already gone to the next slide.
That is. Yeah, that's it. Nice smiling face.
Thank you. So this PPT is going to be slightly different from the earlier one. The earlier one was very technical, very finance focused. This is going to be more on the business side and slightly more on the theoretical side of it. So it's going to be slightly different. So please bear with that. So just a short background about myself. My name is Harsh Sethia. I'm the founder of Startup Hackers. It's an early stage startup community where I'm helping startups grow their business. Essentially as a VC, I'm also a venture partner with our ventures. I've shared my social network handles if anyone wishes to connect with me offline. And the topic that we are focusing on today is going to be artificial intelligence. So a brief background about myself. I've done my MBA in marketing from Nasi Monji. From NMIMS a couple years back, worked with Distillery, Johnson & Johnson, Paytm, several other companies. And now I'm starting my own VC business where I'm helping startups raise funds and grow their business and expand globally. So this is, thanks to Manoj and the entire think tank team for giving me this opportunity, and hoping to kind of share this world of AI, which is typically focused only among the Silicon Valley and the AI group and a very niche community, trying to get it more broad based and get more visibility outside. So as usual, I would like to mention this as a disclaimer that most of the topics which I'm mentioning here, they are more of my personal opinions, and with the other opinions of my colleagues which I work with in India, Silicon Valley, US, etc. And obviously, everyone is supposed to conduct their own due diligence before they decide to participate in this sector. So essentially, the core of how AI operates is that data has a better idea, right? That is the primary focus. The primary focus has to be that in today's day and age, there is so much data available for everyone to access that it's become extremely important that people do not know what they can do with the data. So that is exactly why AI has become so important. How you can focus on the data side of it, right? And how you can make sense of the data that you have. So I think I lost my presentation. Let me go to the presentation again. So how you can make better sense of data and how you can use that to implement and improve the current processes and the current structures which are there, right? So that is how the entire artificial intelligence system came about. One of my friend which I mentioned about, Gary Fowler, essentially the kind of work that he does is focusing on AI, making it simpler. He's already a founder of a unicorn Eva.ai in US, worked with another 16 other companies, and started his own venture studio over there. So essentially, the focus is, if you look at the amount of data that we have almost terabytes and terabytes of data. If you stack it up in the form of floppy or a CD, you can go 3 or 4 times back to moon and back. That's how much amount of data that we have. That's why it's extremely important to make sense of that. So this is essentially what the current market looks like, right? The market growth will accelerate at a CAGR of almost 21%. Currently, the market size is roughly around $76 billion, which grew from $62 billion last year, from 2020. And this year it is $76 billion anticipated for 2021. And bear in mind, this number is focusing on just the AI services part of it, as in the companies which provide the AI services to established big entities. This is what we are focusing on right now. The increment, the market size $76 billion. If you look at the actual impact which AI has, it's easily in trillions of dollars. The amount of role which AI plays, it's easily in trillions of dollars, and the impact which that has. The application is far reaching across production, manufacturing, the topics which I'm going to comment to later. So you get some more idea regarding the same as well. And the year-over-year growth is estimated at 20%. Our market is fragmented with several players because we cannot have a single player doing the entire thing. The kind of detail that is there, the kind of technicality which is there, and it has multiple approaches. We don't have one established right approach. That's why there are multiple players operating in the same space, and each having their own approach, each having their own use case, and each is doing an extremely brilliant job over there. 56% of the growth is primarily originating from North America. So the largest AI players in the world right now are US and China essentially. Most of the growth is happening over there. Most of the new R&D is happening over there. And China is poised to actually overtake US within the next 4 to 5 years. The way that they are growing and the way that they are innovating, it's extremely quick and extremely ambitious, the way China is focusing on that. Next two countries are in Israel and UK, which are the next two largest AI countries. The rest of the world is pretty much lagging behind, whether it be the entire EU or whether it be India. They're completely lagging behind, and we are simply kind of copying these big four players who are doing most of the research. One of the key focuses right now is cybersecurity. The role of cybersecurity cannot be underestimated because the number of hacks that we are seeing and the number of our world has become so much online that it is literally a feast for the cyber hackers. They can simply access any of our information that they want as easily as possible, and that is why cybersecurity has become a major key. And there are increasingly companies who are working in the cybersecurity space worth billions and billions of dollars just to focus more on the cybersecurity side of it. So just kind of I've given you a brief about what the situation is like, right? So what essentially is AI? So AI is essentially the fourth technological revolution, right? We've had the initial developments that have happened. AI is going to bring about the next largest revolution which is there, is going to shape the world for the next coming decades to come. And the companies which have the best application of AI will win the competition. Now, a person might think that, artificial intelligence is artificial intelligence, right? Everything is the same. But however, that is not the case. Artificial intelligence has tons of data, and it has tons of data models and tons of interpretation which are involved to that, right? So that is where the qualitative differentiator is going to be lie between the different artificial intelligence companies. The one which comes up with the most efficient and effective data intelligence and learning models, the best interpretation models, they are the ones who are going to go to the next step, and they're going to effectively win. And considering how the current world has been structured, right? So about a couple decades back, we used to have multiple players in the same space, all operating in their own respective domination, and we would have multiple players in the same competition area. However, the way the economy, the global structure is being structured right now, is going to be increasingly becoming more like a small oligopoly, having like 2-3 top players at best, who are going to be controlling the majority of the market share in their respective domains. So it's going to happen like a major consolidation across industries, not just a specific industry. It will happen in tech industries, banking industry, manufacturing. Doesn't matter. Every industry is going to go through a major consolidation, because the one with the best AI processes and the best AI implementation, the benefits of that process are going to be so outweighed that they'll easily kind of just overtake the competition, and at the end of it, either acquire them out or kind of make them go bankrupt. So that is how important AI has become today. AI helps in simplifying the processes, simplifying the logistics structures, and how you can streamline it better, identify new risks and new challenges before they actually even come, so that you can proactively kind of mitigate them before that happens itself. How you can anticipate new challenges and risks. And so a lot of the time, so for example, COVID kind of proved how hilariously out-prepared not just India, but the global economy was, right? No one was prepared economically, medically, healthcare infrastructure-wise, supply chain-wise for the kind of challenges which COVID brought about. Had we had better AI processes in place, we would have been much better. And this is exactly why we have countries like US and China kind of doubling down on AI to come up with better models to ensure we build those process efficiencies in place, so that in the occurrence of a future such event, we'll be able to better prepare for the challenges which arise, and ensure that we don't kind of fall apart the way that we did right now. And building efficient and accurate forecasts. So essentially, so I'm not sure if any of you are aware, when the COVID period just started, just about February, March last year, there was an acute shortage of masks. You could not find masks, where to get access of that. There were enough indications starting from November 2020 onwards, November 2019 onwards, that this is going to be a major problem. COVID is going to be a major problem. And with the help of right AI models, you could have anticipated that, you could have forecasted that, and created that kind of initial inventory which is required to ensure that when the challenge happens, you are prepared for that. But because of the lack of those models, we were kind of failed that, right? So once we have all of that in place, we'll be able to come up with much accurate forecasts and have much more efficient planning to ensure that we are not caught unprepared for such a pandemic. So, so this is going to get technical. So if you have any queries or any doubts, feel free to interrupt and ask me questions in the middle as well. Try to keep it as interactive as possible, because I understand the nature of this presentation is going to be slightly different from what you typically are used to, right? So please feel free to ask me any questions during the session as well. So what are the applications of AI, right? AI can be applied literally everywhere. Essence of the artificial intelligence is you identify what the existing processes are, categorize them, identify data points which you want to measure, figure out patterns within them, and then you use those patterns to identify what the forecast is going to be, how you can improve upon that. That is a broad overview of what AI is supposed to be, right? It helps make sense of terabytes of data. No human has the capacity to kind of interpret that volume of data, and that's why AI comes in the picture. How you can make the best sense of data, and that is why the data scientists who work on AI applications are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary, because the kind of impact that AI has within the industry cannot be understated. It's extremely important. So it helps in
हर्षदे, आप पहले एक स्लाइड दिया था वो मार्केट वैल्यूएशन का और whatever, I think that what is the growth, all that. I could not get it whether they are the what you call technology enable in the terms of artificial intelligence, those are the those technological enablers ka growth and market valuation, or such of the companies who have implemented and got the benefit. Ye kya slide hai?
Correct. So this slide is just that the people who are providing the AI services. That is this is the market size. Okay, the companies which are providing the AI services, this is their market size. The business impact of AI, it's easily in trillions of dollars, easily. And we can't even kind of measure the kind of impact which AI has had. I'm going to come to future some examples down the line. You're going to be realizing how much impact AI has, and so many industries which are already using AI, and we didn't have any clue that they are using AI and how they are going about it.
Yeah. So as you go forward, we can discuss. One more you can cover. As that of the people who are enables, who's that this slide, as you said, the business impact and all. For an average company to implement the artificial intelligence, how it costs, that is also important. Like, as you rightly said, as you go forward, there will not be any company or there will not be any task which is not enabled through artificial intelligence. So it is a fact now. And the futuristic predictive, if you want to have your business proposition, then you have to use your data, and you have to also, as you rightly said, you have to improvise your process. You have to become more efficient. So those points keeping, but at what level of time I have to, as you said, today is the right time for Sabios in production of the artificial intelligence. What I'm going to invest on the artificial intelligence, depending upon the, so for if that cost is X, and it is presumed by you that definitely by what period I'm going to get a return on that. So that is the, and what is the average such cost for a average mid-sized company, or are they only, because today I also went through, so I found whether it is transport, whether it is health sector, whether it is education, whether it is a media or manufacturing or service sector, or all customer service, in every sector, futuristically you will have artificial intelligence enabled. And one area we may be having the entire without driver, the bus, a vehicle will be there, car can go. So that we are likely to see that, I think. So that way, similarly, during this COVID, you can have a, through artificial intelligence, you can have a virtual any surgery, or you can also have nurses through the virtual mode. In all that virtual mode, that will come through study only, behavioral study of the patient's history. So I restrict now up to that 2 point, but your point is well taken, so you can go ahead.
Sure. So the first question which you mentioned, right? See, how much investment will it take? So essentially, AI is an expensive technology. There's no question about it. To kind of get a reasonable study out of AI, it takes at least $2 million on an average. It's not any implementation is going to take at least $2 million, because you need to have the data models, you need to ensure the learning models, you need to have the right learning models, you need to create the right data set. Right, creating the right data set is important, because if the data is not structured properly, the entire process is going to go for a toss, right? So that is why the expense is going to be at least $2 million for any avenue that you want to invest in. Now, next comes the topic is, where do you start? So obviously the most important area to start for any company would be to kind of focus on the biggest weakness right now. I'm sure most companies internally would kind of figure out, and the world's leading companies like HUL, Johnson & Johnson, which I used to work with, they've already started applying these principles in their supply chain, in their logistics, in their manufacturing, because they understand the importance of including these efficiencies, right? So each and every company has to do their own internal, deep thinking, that what is the biggest challenge for us? Is it in terms of operations? Is it in terms of supply chain? Is it in terms of logistics? Or in terms of manufacturing? Understand that, identify the right people, and even to implement that, you need a combination of a business person, someone like me who understands AI and who understands business, and you need a technology person who's a technology specialist in AI aspect, right? You need a combination of both, because if you have simply an AI person, they'll come up with more creative ideas to do this, to do that, which may or may not have a business impact, right? So that's why you need to have a balancing aspect of a business person and AI person to kind of drive the AI projects within the company that, that first we'll focus on this, implement over here. First we focus on this, then we implement here. You can just look at it, the ERP implementation, which started in most companies 3-4 decades back, right? Most of the ERP implementation which started, they would first focus on one domain, then they would expand to another domain, then they would expand to third domain. Something similar will have to be done with AI as well.
Thank you.
I hope that addressed the question, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. So this was the slide we were in last, and this is what the entire machine intelligence landscape currently looks like, right? So at the top, we have artificial intelligence, where focus is on pattern recognition and pattern prediction and forecasting, essentially what that looks like. Then it comes to deep learning. Deep learning means, kind of training the model with millions and even billions of data points to kind of ensure that you have the right patterns, right structures in place. Probably this is too technical right now, so I'll just kind of cover the overview of it. Then you have machine learning, where it kind of simply put the data and get some quick outputs from the beginning itself. The machine learning is kind of structured in combinations. Sometimes it is structured, sometimes it's unstructured learning. Each have their own pros and cons. Structured learning helps to kind of put some structure over there, where you kind of put some broad overlays to kind of help in putting some identifiers. Unstructured learning, essentially the idea is that the machine himself identify the patterns and comes up with something completely new, which you did not expect in the beginning. So each have their own merits, each have their own pros and cons. Then you have NLP platforms, where you do the NLP essentially means natural language processing, where essentially you have these data servers which are there. You kind of feed the data to them, and they help in language processing to understand the language input that's been happening over there, right? Then come the predictive APIs. Essentially, they help in predict based on the data that you input. They help in prediction, what's going on, what's not going on. Image recognition is something I'm going to go down in the further slide, and how it's being applied in the healthcare.
Harshad, core technology is written on the algorithm based, no? That it is how they are core technology means what exactly?
So core technology basically means essentially what are the different aspects of the technologies that an AI is involved with. So AI has multiple technologies. One is obviously, which I mentioned, the machine learning part of it, the deep learning part of it, the NLP platforms part of it. Then come the application part of it, right? So in core technologies, you have other sections as well, like NLP, NLU, deep learning. You have other aspects as well in terms of voice recognition and those kind of aspects. So essentially, core technologies means what it takes to kind of feed the AI model to begin.
That is what feed the data.
Exactly, feed the data and creating the patterns out of that.
Patterns out of it.
Exactly.
And your that other one, later, that predictive is very important. And
exactly.
For for your customer acquisition, and by providing your required product at the required time, in the required manner for customers. That's how today, through this process, you are being tracked, and wherever you go, you will be told, yes, your nearby bookstall is there. You are liking for this book, so you can go and take the book. So all that is happening through this artificial intelligence and machine learning, and and later you can cover. I know some of the banks who are done. So in Indian banking also, the artificial intelligence has been introduced now. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's another section on marketing as well, which I'm going to cover in the presentation, and that is going to cover exactly how these companies work, exactly how these companies are able to track you, how these companies can stalk you and provide you the right information at the right time so that you end up buying that.
And Harshad ji, आपका ये study MBA किया आपने. One point comes here that whether our educational sector has adopted this artificial intelligence, machine learning, or deep learning, all that methodology, including blockchain, all that, so that the people like you, of course, you are already expert, but the students, when they're coming out, because one thing is predicted that if people don't adapt all these, they are going to be eliminated. And most of the big companies have already told the employees that if you don't take all these changes happening, one day you may be out from the job. So when the very fact that it takes all routine tasks and it leads into, like, suppose one example I'm giving you. If the call center, if the artificial intelligence, machine learning, if they take over, then there will not be any job for others to do the call as if in the human voice. This will start. So how are just this also, because I'm getting this idea, I'm talking there. So you can go ahead, Arshad. One is education.
Narendra ji, I have one client of mine who is into the voice-based search engine, and gradually your idea is right. They are replacing the manpower with the machines.
Yeah. Everything will come like that only. But that is where, Harsha ji, आपने तो अच्छा किया है, but now generally people tend to be a little constant comfort zone में रहेंगे और नया अडॉप्ट नहीं किया, एक दिन उनका वैल्यू निकल जाएगा एम्प्लॉइज का. Yeah, please.
This is a good point raised. I would like to add, I think there is a huge potential for much higher employment, not lower employment. The type and class of employment will change. There will be reskilling and rethinking, as is mentioned in the slide. But there will be much more employment. When IT came to India and we started doing outsourcing, people were saying it's a labor arbitrage. And it will raise the employment of people doing accounting, ledgers and all that. But what has happened today, it has created a huge industry which is serving India as the global service IT capital for the world. So this AI, if deployed intelligently, that is very vital. Artificial intelligence needs to be deployed intelligently. In that case, it can generate millions of employment for professionals. And also college graduates.
And
I feel
Manoj,
that's a huge potential.
Yeah, Manoj ji, आपने बताया, that is another important point is artificial intelligence, machine learning, all this, it has to be implemented for ethical purpose. Intelligent, that is the intelligent as well as ethical.
Right.
Otherwise, it has got a much more like Indian sovereignty or any country sovereignty, or in various in terms of taking the core knowledge. So that is there. And second, as you said, it is a period of specialists as well as, so the opportunity for specialists will go multiplied, whereas others will have to catch up with the knowledge. Yeah, please take forward.
And we also expect Indians, professionals and Indian youngsters, in fact, who may do their even SSC later, they can contribute in a big way to AI being used globally, whether in Europe, whether in Japan, whether in Australia, whether in South America, whether in US. So Indian will certainly get an edge. That's the whole thing about. In fact, when I was discussing with Harsh since last 2 days, I told him we just don't look at 15-20 minutes. There's much more. We'll be having a series of sessions on AI. Series of sessions. Now Harsh will know there's a lot more to be learned, and India will contribute, and it can be really #1 in the AI. Ultimately, intelligence has come from India to the cosmic universe. So cosmic intelligence, natural intelligence, artificial intelligence, it always comes from the cosmos to the human mind, and human mind contributes further developments and inputs to how robots can be created and how data analytics can also be used. It's all a part of AI, and different words are used. But this, we will certainly be doing a series of webinars, conclaves, conferences on this topic, and lots more to come. Yeah.
And Manoj ji, our budget may be for digital, particularly in the artificial intelligence, all this new methodology, they have allocated 1,500 crores, I think, because India is also going to adopt.
True, and whatever the amount, at least it has come on the
national importance. National importance. Yeah. Please.
Yeah. So Narendra ji, the first point which you mentioned now, of what our Indian education system is doing, unfortunately, our engineering colleges are woefully inadequate in training employees for AI and blockchain. AI and blockchain are already present, and they are no longer the future; they are the present. And our software engineering colleges, what they teach is C, C++, Java, Python, PHP. They are still stuck in 10-year-old technologies, which are effectively kind of defunct. मतलब वही वो basic website बनाना, वही basic app बनाना. They haven't gone beyond that. So
क्यों नहीं चेंज करते हैं? यही है ना, दैट मीन्स उनका प्रोफेसर्स लेक्चर्स they have also not gone for that or what?
Exactly, the professors, they haven't upgraded, and the way the IT industry is growing so quickly, the professors and the teachers, they haven't updated to the newer skills. That is the biggest problem. So whatever the skills which people are getting, they are getting it through online courses these days. अभी Coursera पे जाके, Udemy जाके, ADX जाके, you get AI courses, वहाँ पे you get to see. But the physical academic institutions have been failing in terms of keeping up with the new developments, the new advancements.
Or just Harshadi, that online courses from the international, is it very costly or how are they?
So it completely depends on the type of courses. You'll have courses which cost $5,000, $10,000. It's up to you whether you're comfortable with that. There are some courses which are completely free as well. So one of the AI pioneers, Andrew NG, is based out of Stanford College, right? So it does some free courses as well, which are available completely free on Coursera, and it does some paid courses as well. So essentially, it's like a combination, kind of identifying that you can get the basic courses for free, but for the advanced courses, you definitely have to pay.
तो हमारा ग्रुप में वो ऐसा कुछ डाटा गिटा आपका किधर किधर से है, आप डालिए थोड़ा, इसका इंफॉर्मेशन सबको डालने दो. Some of them professionals also will have to now, like audit professionals will have to do the artificial intelligence. Without that, their audit profession also may go problem. So आप है ना बाद में डालिए वो.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you look at, it's going to impact every profession. No, the AI का जो basic understanding है, it's going to be required. जैसे भी IT has become for everyone, right? So just like that, AI in the next 1 or 2 decades is going to become a common thing, and everyone will need to understand how AI operates. And as far as the second question which you mentioned, whether jobs will be affected or not. So Manoj was actually bang on target, right? When the first assembly line was introduced by Henry Ford 100 years back, people thought that this would eliminate jobs, right? But it did not happen that way. It created more jobs, because now you could manufacture more cars that way through the assembly line. Likewise, same thing happened 50 years back when the IT industry came. सब लोगों को लगा कि IT industry came, now it will take away jobs, but that did not happen. The same will happen over here. Essentially, what will happen is you will have to reskill yourself, kind of update yourself, and prepare yourself with the new skills. It will create new employment opportunities, but people cannot be lackadaisical and say that yes, yaar, mere ko itna hi aata hai, this is all that I'm going to do. That does not work. You have to constantly upgrade and upskill yourself, because things are moving very fast for the last 10 years.
Because हमने एक कल एक किधर देखा that AI can what you call take away the routine tasks and learn to optimize itself. And next sentence is 90%, especially the bottom 50% of the world, in terms of income or education, will be badly hurt with the job displacement. So you have to retain the people for new job. This I saw somewhere.
No, so this is
and in the future, in the future, if you don't know coding, you do not know programming, it is only going to get more difficult. ऐसा आया.
Yeah. So देखो, the same thing was true 100 years back when the first assembly line came. People used to think that cars are getting automated, so people will lose their jobs. But result, what happened was cars became cheaper. Everyone could start to buy them more, and because of that, it created new jobs.
I know. This should be the approach. That should be the approach, and that gives you opportunity. That I fully agree.
Exactly, and we need to, we can't let that stand in the way of progress, because if we let that stand in the way of progress, so we as a civilization will kind of plateau, right? We won't be able to grow. So that is why it's extremely to have a realistic understanding of what it is, right? We have to upgrade ourselves. There's no question about that.
That is important, which Manoj also covered.
Exactly. I think new opportunities, and we need to adapt to the new opportunities which are being created.
Correct.
Please carry forward. I think what the overall scenario is that whatever, whether it is computers or any other assembly lines or whatever it is, those have come in where efficiencies have improved. I think that is the most essential factor. So computers might be there. What is happening is AI and other things are coming in to get those efficiencies in, where you are able to actually accumulate data and work on that data to be efficient. So it is not displacing people, but it is efficiency which comes into the picture.
Correct. Exactly. In fact,
and,
people.
हर्ष को हमने एक बताते हैं, there is a good opportunity, like banks are always faced with the incremental NPA. Now, if I am able to get you say 10 years retail data or 10 years corporate data, then I put that into the artificial intelligence, then I supplement the data with maybe some of the available public data like cash flow, all the financial, all that, then at I can through this artificial intelligence arrive at what is the predictive probability of default, and how are we to take a note of that and proactively reduce it. I think predictive analysis arising out of your artificial intelligence will be very much useful in the financial sector.
Yes, sir. That in fact, you have hit the nail on the head. I would say, and this is what has started in MFIs. Micro assessments of microfinancing. The lending. That is something which is an absolute must. So the cash flows which come in, the repayments which come in, that is of essence for these microfinance companies, and that is already started in this sector. So that is the most essential factor which comes in, and here is the point where we say this is efficiency.
And the Bank of Baroda sometime back has advertised an integrated approach through this artificial intelligence and all that. They wanted people to provide end-to-end say mechanism for credit monitoring.
That is risk mitigation actually. It is risk mitigation, nothing else.
Correct. In fact, Sandeep ji is quite right. It's the big banks have already started that. In fact, one of these AI companies, they were kind of trying to recruit me last year to join them as a sales director. So the big banks like Axis Bank, ICICI, they already started heading towards that. They are trying to get these not just for NPAs, but also what kind of loans to disburse, right? The current loan disbursement process is extremely manual. They are trying to understand how they can digitize that, what kind of loans are, what amount is best, how they can optimize that. So that kind of work is already started with most of the larger private banks, and the company which I'm talking about, they've already started working with them. I obviously can't disclose the name, but it's all penetrating. As I said, AI is going to penetrate everything. You can just look at the the rethinking industries, right? Ad tech, agriculture, education, finance, legal, manufacturing, medical. There's literally no end where AI can be applied. So absolutely, in terms of the opportunity which is there, AI is definitely the new electricity. I'll come to that down the line, but AI is essentially the new electricity right now. So what that means is, just as electricity has become the day-to-day part of our everyday living, same is going to happen with AI as well. So these are some of the the broad sectors which I was talking about, right? Broad elements of what AI is. One is deep learning, one is machine learning general, and then is the machine learning in apps, when you focus on more specific aspects of it. Then come NLP, natural language processing. Basically, how do we process the data that we are entering on the verbal side? Then natural language understanding, how it translates and interprets the language that we are speaking. Then computer vision and image recognition. Basically, if you feed them images, can it identify the pattern and how does it structure that? Then gesture control. So essentially, manual gesture control where it detects hand movement, leg movements, etc., and that kind of thing. Voice to text conversion is actually being used pretty commonly right now. It's easily available. Traditionally, it used to happen with very simple technologies. Now they are trying to do AI to kind of identify even local dialects and local gestures. So it's going to be a very localized thing. It won't be a global thing. That is actually where Google and Amazon, unfortunately, are filling out on as well, because the Alexa product which Amazon created and the Siri which Apple created, it is relevant mostly to the English-speaking audiences of US and UK, but not so much in India. That's why they haven't kind of got the same push, because it's very dialect.
Your voice is not audible, Harsh.
Hello.
Hello.
क्या हो गया अभी? He can come back with the and some music also I heard. Music has to be. What we'll do now?
We can continue the discussion till they come back.
Yeah.
So I was looking at you mentioned in the last slide AI broad sectors. Now it was mentioned about smart robots. The last line.
Yes.
I remember in Think Tank we had a physical roundtable meeting about 5 years ago, and we had a session specifically dedicated to robo. 5 years. This is a foresight of think tanks. Physical meeting, about 20 people were there in a boardroom type of scenario. And we discussed about what smart robots or robots can do, contribute in financial services.
You know, I think ICICI Bank has implemented robotics now.
Yeah, but in a very limited way. In the US, there are many companies at the forefront. Once again, there is a call from Harsh's place. Hello. Yeah. Hi. Oh my God. Connect on mobile. Hello. Hello. Yeah, it is from Harsh. I think he's trying to connect. Yeah. So what has happened is the global companies, they have utilized robot trading for their business. Hello. 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 There is some power issue. That's why they could not connect. So I think they will try to connect from the mobile if possible. And they will be back.
Android डालना पड़ेगा. Internet नहीं है.
Possibly, yeah. So there is a power issue. Just 1 second. Yeah, we'll do a session and before they come, possibly, I think until then, Sandeep has few other slides. We can do a short session on that. Now, let us complete this on robo. There are lots of top global companies in the financial services industry. They used AI robot trading for business. And today it is a big business. Over 80% of the business is coming from this robot trading. In fact, the whole PMS industry in India is actually still vintage. We say PMS is better than mutual funds, you know, personal investment. You can contact your investor, you can contact your fund manager, but that is all crap. There are lots of issues in that. But globally, they are using robot trading and analytics based on those analytics, trillions of dollars, and are able to give much higher returns because there is no human bias in it. Often a human bias makes the returns suboptimal. So let me hold on to a sinking ship. That usually happens. Emotions are there, biases are there, or let me book profit. I know people who just keep on saying, let me book profit. Some other shares goes down, so this share will go down, book profits. And this the robot trading, that financial planning, PMS is done by global companies, is able to use it. Now just imagine the power of robot trading. Financial services industry is huge, it can multiply. Ultimately, it is servicing the people. There is more investment coming. And it is a use of technology and multiple use of technology. So much data analytics can be used and is able to give much return. So more savings will flow. Today, we see hardly 2% of money asset allocation is in equities of the Indian investors as per the last RBI report. So if these technologies, AIs can be used to increase a return from maybe 5% to maybe 12%, just imagine the kind of exponential GDP growth can take place. And India can come over as a number one in GDP not only growth, even in the ranking much faster.
So
Now,
that can
Sandeep, yeah.
that can give a lot of, like, the robotics. One is all the simple routine task it will take. Second, what you said, robotic trading, there it gives a lot of maybe technical analysis or certain data support. But that should be supplemented by human judgment. See, you cannot replace the human judgment, as I feel, because if you are simply depending on the robotics or that, then what is your ingenuity? So you have to use your ingenuity, but it will be a supporting mechanism. That is my feeling.
Right,
Sir,
certainly supporting.
Just Manoj, what is algo trading? When you call it algo trading, what it means is the computer actually looks out for price movements, and as soon as a price is triggered, the orders are sent by the computer directly. So it is a type of artificial intelligence. The person on the seat doesn't have anything to do with it. So it is triggered, and it has caused problems, I can understand, but this is artificial intelligence.
Artificial or natural, I think it uses natural also, but a very good point raised by you. It happened incidentally. So lots of things are there. And Sandeep, I think it will be nice to get Harsh into the discussion. He's trying to connect. Both of them are in Lonavala where there is a power issue. Sandeep, can we have this, start this discussion on schedule 3, if possible?
Yeah. I'll start the discussion on schedule 3.
Harsh has joined, I think.
Has he?
Harsh has joined.
Sorry for the delay because of the connection issues.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you are back. Harsh, we had a very good discussion on the last slide you show on robos.
Okay. Okay.
It was excellent discussion for over 5 to 7 minutes. It was really superb. We had a session on AI about 5 years ago in a boardroom style. Physical discussion on roundtable discussion on AI on one of the matters in your slide, the last one. And this is what think tanks is about. Think tanks keeps on rethinking every day practically, right, Sandeep? Think tanks.
Yeah, I'll join from
you mentioned in one slide, and we had this 5 years ago on smart robots and the use in financial services industry and in India and also abroad, and how big money can be made. So we were working on the next topic, but glad you are back, and continue on from the last slide you showed. Where is Manali? We wanted to put the video on and contribute to the discussion on.
No, actually there is a connectivity issue, so only one device will be able to connect, right?
No, both of you can use the same device and the same camera.
No, but we are doing it from mobile, right? When mobile.
Okay, it can be done. It can be done.
Hold on a second. Yeah. So, should we continue? How do you want to?
Yeah, sure. Even you can do without the slides also. Your slides are a part of the think tank Vivek Patra.
Okay. If you could share
will be shared.
No, if you could share the slides right now on the screen from
somebody can share the slide and he can talk from there. Yeah.
Because the slides are extremely important.
Aditya or
can you send it to Sandeep, Harsh? Okay, I will send.
Yeah, because it's on my laptop, so I won't be able to share from.
No, that's okay. Don't worry. We'll work on it. In the meantime, you can just talk looking at your slides. That's okay.
Sure. So essentially, the idea is, if you look at the NLP, the topics which I was mentioning, right? The segment which NLP comprises is NLP, NLU. So they are the technical aspects which determine what an AI engine is, right? You need to figure out how to enter the data and interpret all of that, and that is how those are some of the techniques which I had mentioned. So let me then cover the next topic which was there. Yeah. So some of the areas where it can be applied, right? Obviously, there are so many areas which AI, as I mentioned, right? AI is omnipresent. It can be applied across all the sectors, doesn't matter which, right? Some of them are e-commerce, healthcare, automotive and electric vehicles, social media, marketing, manufacturing, cybersecurity, logistics, supply chain, financial services. In all these sectors, you can apply AI easily and kind of ensure that we have those kind of process efficiencies which are required to, yeah.
Sandeep? Sandeep?
Yes, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
One second. I've received
Sandeep,
your
I think
file.
you have got the slides. Can you put them on if possible?
Yeah.
He's trying. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sandeep has got the
Go
slides.
ahead,
Yeah.
Harsha ji.
Okay, cool. So as I mentioned, it can be applied across any sectors, whether it be e-commerce, healthcare, automotive, electric vehicles, social media, automotive, manufacturing, cyber security. It essentially comes down to where the strongest use case is and where your imagination limits you. Essentially, each and every sector can apply AI and get those kind of benefits out of the AI system, right? So I want to start from the first e-commerce section. If we can get get the share the slide, it'll help me provide more context. Exactly.
So
what
Harsha ji, you have full knowledge of the use cases and how they did benefit from that in terms of business. You have any where you are engaged or you know some of them in India based? I'm not talking about global, India.
Yeah, I know India as well as global players. In India, there are very few players who are operating in that space, but I know several global players are also operating in that space. I'm also in touch with a couple of EV manufacturers and EV players who are not using AI, but they're more into hardware development for EV.
Okay.
So there are some marketing tech companies who are extensively using AI. A lot of marketing ad tech companies that are using AI, and even in e-commerce space, the biggest example. Hello.
And just Harsha ji, recently our
Harsh, are you connected?
Yeah,
1 minute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, he's on the line. Harsha ji, that recently there is one company or what you call organization called Banking Frontier. We did what you call this we do every year to invite all the innovations in the banking and financial space. Of course, similarly, those who are the innovator technology companies, another. So when I was a jury member in that, in the banking space or the financial space, I found particularly during the COVID in what you call faceless, when banking and all the services were there have been quite a lot of implementation of artificial intelligence and as you rightly said, including State Bank of India and not only public, private sector, new generation and insurance companies, as well as the State Bank and other public sector, they have also going ahead with the this
smart
artificial
robot
smart,
trading, big
Please continue.
multi-billion-dollar industry.
Lots
of global companies using it. To optimize returns.
So in fact, just about 2 weeks back, one of the startups had pitched me. The product they were creating was for portfolio management.
We had a session, boardroom style, physical roundtable discussion on robot trading.
Okay,
over 5 years ago.
Manoj, Harsha is covering. Please.
Just when it was about to start.
Please.
And use in a commercial way.
The slides are on. Can you see
in
it
a big
now?
way?
I can see the slides now. Yeah, I can see the
Reaching
slides
out
now.
to millions of investors globally.
Go ahead.
Can you move to the next slide, please? Perfect. So as I mentioned, e-commerce, healthcare, automotive, all these sectors, we can use that.
Right.
In the banking space, one company.
Manali, are you there?
No, Manali is not there right now because in the phone it's difficult.
Manoj, that Mr. Harsha is already covering. You are not hearing. Please, he's already started speaking. Please. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So in the banking space, there's a one company which actually pitched us about 2-3 weeks back. The focus was on using AI to make trading easy. So instead of kind of manually tracking all the data and returns.
Manojji, already Mr. Harsha is on the line and he's talking and presenting, and Sandeep is already running the slides. So kindly you please wait for further talk. Yeah, please.
Possibly you should re-log on because we can't
There are
see you
multiple
again.
applications, business applications in across the sectors.
संदीप जी आप उनको फोन में बात करके
Used
बताओ.
globally and in
I
India
think he is
also.
not able to know
In fact,
that
India
Harsha is
is at
already
the
doing the
forefront
presentation here.
in some of the key specialized areas
Yeah, I
of
think Manoj is
AI
unable to hear that we
since
are
several
speaking.
years, working together with global organizations.
Manoj is unable to
Particularly
hear that I am
in the
speaking.
auto and EV sector, some of the Indian companies,
Please mute Manoj, na?
innovative companies,
Boss,
have
please
excellent
mute Manoj.
research.
Manoj thinks that Harsha is on the not line and he is talking. Yeah, अभी mute करिए, mute
On
करिए.
उनको mute कर दीजिए.
Yeah.
automotive.
Yes. Please carry on, Harsha.
Sure. So in the financial space I was talking about, right? The company was already doing algorithmic trading with the help of AI, and they were, offering good returns in like 15 to 16% last year, and they were looking to
Okay,
raise
I
funds
don't
to
know
go
how
to
to
the
log
next
off,
level
but
to kind of
let him
ensure
come.
that they can do it that way as well. So that was definitely happening.
Let him start.
And in terms of banking companies, if you look at it overall,
I think my connection is not that good.
can someone
But
call
start.
Manoj on a regular phone
Yeah.
to kind of communicate this? Yeah. So, and in terms of banking thing, as I mentioned, there was this one company who had reached out to me last year. They wanted me to join them as the sales director. The idea was how they can use AI in terms of not only acquiring new customers, but also in terms of process enhancement, in terms of solving their NPs, etc. There was another marketing company which I was in touch with. Essentially, what the focus was, you have these annual business plans, right? Or we have these quarterly business plans, 6-monthly plans. They essentially, what that company was doing was, they was using AI to kind of convert those intelligence which is there into translatable verbal content. So instead of seeing all those fancy graphs and numbers, which a lot of corporate executives may not find comfortable, kind of navigating them through, they would convert them into text. So that would make it much more easier to understand. So there are lots of applications which are there. We are only limited by our imagination, as I mentioned earlier as well, right? So can we move to the next slide?
Yeah, thank you. Please.
So the biggest application right now is e-commerce. So essentially, e-commerce is where AI first started, and this so AI started around 3-4 decades back. But e-commerce is where it truly got commercialized. Prior to that, it was just a focus of sci-fi and those fancy Terminator movies that people used to think that this is what AI is going to be, but it wasn't truly applied everywhere. E-commerce was the area where it first started, where they could anticipate buyer behavior. So the way that you interpret on this e-commerce platform, they are monitoring each and everything. So essentially, what they can actually see, there are heat maps and other tools available. They can actually see how your mouse is moving, where you're clicking, where your mouse is stuck for a longer time, what exactly you're seeing. They can see all of that. Based on that, they can predict your buyer behaviors and buyer patterns. They'll analyze how much you're purchasing in a year, what is the best time period where you tend to buy. Based on that, so they essentially have like 2,000 parameters which they are constantly analyzing, and based on that, the product is dynamically tweaking. So it is absolutely unimaginable the kind of AI which is being used in the system, right? So I'll come to an example where it will show you how it exactly operates. Buyer behavior. So as I mentioned, they are browsing your cursor each and every where your mouse.
Harsh, I just have one question here. Sorry.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. When it comes to actually interfering in, or they are able to see what we are doing, right?
Correct.
Whether it is Google or Facebook or whoever it is. Is it not something which is being taken against them? For example, the US is actually trying to say you can't actually invade privacy. So is this something which is going to be allowed on a long-term basis, or how is it going to be? That's the question which I had. That Correct. Comes to mind because it's invading of your privacy.
No, so what happens is these companies till date, what they've done is they've come up with those huge terms and conditions with every update that they release, right? Something which we simply accept without actually reading them. Over there, they add all these crazy clauses where they can track any of us without actually, reading through them. And they've been taking advantage of that till date, essentially. There's no other way to say that they've simply been taking advantage of all of that and invading our privacy. But unfortunately, because we've accepted that, there is no other way. If we had not accepted that, the only other alternative that we have is not to use that product altogether. So that is how essentially they're getting a bypass from that. That if you want to use their product or their service, you have to accept those terms and conditions, and they're exploiting that essentially. However, Europe has now taken a strict stance on that, and that is why they last year they released what they are calling the General Data Protection Regulations, General Data Privacy Regulations, the GDPR. So based on that, it has become extremely difficult, to kind of track that, especially for European citizens. Number one. Secondly, recently, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar, around 3 to 4 months back, iOS came with a new update where iOS and Apple devices are also blocking these cookies and these tracking metrics which these companies were using, right? Essentially to protect the privacy of Apple customers. So this has also created a huge uproar within Amazon, Facebook, and other social media companies, because they are like the entire industry is dependent on capturing social data. And once you kind of prevent that from happening, the business model goes for a toss. So they are kind of trying to litigate against Apple to ensure that does not happen. But Apple has its own ecosystem, and there's literally no one can stop that. The consequence of that has been that people who are using Google, Facebook, Instagram to buy ads on them for their businesses, the ad costs are skyrocketing because the efficient targeting which used to be done, that no longer can be done. And in US, Apple has the majority market share. So because of that, the ad targeting has completely gone for the toss, and that is creating a lot of other problems for them.
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. So this is, what the entire privacy element of it. You're bang on target that it's invading our privacy, but on the other hand, we kind of have no choice. It's a binary choice. You either use the application or you don't use the application. There's nothing else is there. So as I mentioned, they were also kind of tracking the purchase propensity, which is there, what time of the day that you are going to buy, what time of the year that you're going to buy, what kind of mindset that you have. And they can even track your mindset based on whatever other application that you're using, right? So it's not like if you're using Amazon, they're only tracking you on Amazon. They're tracking you on Google. They're tracking you on all the other millions of websites that you are applying, right? So there are specific marketing technologies called DMPs, right? Essentially, DMPs are like data management platforms where they aggregate the data from across the web. And so it is not how they structure it is not individually labeled that this is data for Harsh, or this is data for Sandeep, or this is data for Mr. Narendra or for Manoj. They don't do it that way. It's an aggregated data, but the language through API integration, it communicates with them seamlessly. So they are able to understand that, and they use that to get all this information from us, and then they send the right targeting information at the right time and which causes us to buy. And that is why companies who don't use this, they end up losing sales, and eventually they end up kind of missing out on the amazing sales opportunities. And that is how they identify the right buying triggers as well, right? So primarily there are like 10 major buying triggers which people tend to have. They use the right buying trigger at the right time, and they push that. Sometimes they'll use FOMO, sometimes they'll use discount, sometimes they'll use social proof. So they'll focus on those major 10 buying triggers and promote them before you to get you to buy the product, essentially.
Now, one question here. Suppose generally we keep our Facebook account open. We don't really log off, or some other app where we don't really log off, especially on our mobiles or iPads. Now, what happens if we log off? Suppose we log off on one and we don't sync, say, the Google or anything of that sort onto my desktop. We keep it separate. The syncing is a problem. I do the applications only from one iPad or one laptop, but don't sync it with the other mobile phones or other things which I have. Would that be traceable?
So a lot of people have tried that, but the fact is, even if though they won't get the complete detailed information from the platform usage, they will still get information from all the other things which you're browsing on the internet. Because as I mentioned, there are these DMP solutions from which any website you browse on the internet, they can capture information from that. So you can't really get away from that, essentially. The only way to get away from that is there are some privacy, what we call browsers, which you use. You can use that like DuckDuckGo and those kind of solutions which are there. You can use those kind of browsers, kind of give you that kind of cookie privacy. But at the same time, when you actually use that, you'll realize that the user experience is so bad, it is so cumbersome for you. And thing is, the seamless movement that you have across websites, because you've synced everything, it's become so seamless and you become so addicted to that, that now if you have to add a password, you have to log in each and every single time when you have to do something over there, you will be so annoyed and so pissed off, you'll stop using that solution whatsoever.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. Sure.
So Sandeep ji, during COVID, mera Facebook was attacked twice, and in one cases my Facebook somebody made as if mera photo ko usko add karke, and then he was trying to solicit from my all contacts.
Right.
Then in another case, he used my Facebook to get some advertisement benefits or something, and he also utilized my credit card. So one thing is I blocked my Facebook, and my that credit card also I stopped it, blocked it. So this during all these are social media, all that is okay, but it is all suspected to big cyber attack, and that is, and Mr. Harsha also has knows. I think he's on that subject also. That is the one more area we have to later cover on cyber security itself. It is a great, and other than that, privacy, entire data. See, another important, my son, I don't know where and all, his credit card data was taken, and somewhere in abroad or somewhere, whole night they draw the money, whatever limit, various transaction, and now the bank here in India says all that message has come to you, so we cannot give you the reimbursement, because they are saying, but wo message raat ko aaya, kaun dekha hai? So ye bada, if I am they say during this COVID, out of every 3%, 1% would have been attacked by cyber attack. Is it okay? Correct, Mr. Harsha?
Yeah, absolutely. Cyber security is the largest problem, and that is what the global focus has been. If you look at over the last 4 or 5 years, the penetration of internet has gone to such level and such depth, but cyber security has more or less been ignored. Everyone thinks that you put a firewall or you put an antivirus, that is called cyber security, but that's literally a joke. These the firewalls can be easily breached. Antivirus can be easily breached. There can be phishing attacks, there can be malware attacks, and if you get on the malware attack, it is so annoying. Even though they are not stuff you will still not be able to use the platform that you have. So that is why,
Mr. Narendra and Harsha, it's a very vital point on cyber security. In fact, we have started a series on cyber security in think tank Conclaves, which is very successful, and we have the best cyber security experts who are engineers and who have also deep expertise in hacking also. So you get the other perspective also. We know hackers who can literally hack anything. Anything means really anything. And cyber security, we had a couple of sessions. We'll be having more sessions in the onwards in the next few weeks ahead.
Yeah, carry on, Harsha ji, please carry on.
Look, security primarily, security hack happens, what would you do then? Or it is preventive, trying to create barriers to kind of prevent those phishing. You need a proactive way of and a unique way of securing the data so that cannot be hacked. So those kind of details are required. So in fact, one of my friends to be a major security consultant.
And just Harshad Aurek, suppose I am browsing some what you call various information. So I have gone to one site where this information is available. Immediately, kuch cooking, geeking, aisa private policy. Unless we press that, we don't get that article or all that. So with that, I think like I will give you a Financial Times. I was entering for webinar, and for registration they wanted me to put that. Ye sab kya hai? Iska through say they take all my data, or what is this actually?
No, so that usme itna kuch problem nahi hai. If it is a legitimate website like a Forbes or a Financial Times, aisa kuch hai, they are simply taking your data to get an idea of your customer profile उससे आपका प्राइवेसी हैक नहीं होगा, सिक्योरिटी हैक नहीं होगा।
नहीं, वो नहीं होगा, बट उधर से आगे किधर गया और किधर से किधर गया, उससे कुछ हो सकता है।
नहीं तो उससे क्या होगा, वो खाली आपको पूरा इंटरनेट में स्टॉक करते रहेंगे। आप कभी भी कुछ भी ब्राउज, इफ यू ब्राउज एनीथिंग एनीवेयर ऑन द इंटरनेट, यू विल स्टार्ट सीइंग देयर एड्स।
Because I just Harshad recently
आपको ईमेल से वो प्रोफाइल मिल जाएगा उनको, और सिंपली वो पुश कर देंगे आपको फिर एड्स सारे।
Yeah, Facebook का there were so many attack, and India data 61 lakhs data has been taken away from the Facebook. Sorry, your what you call WhatsApp and Facebook, mainly Facebook, I think.
Yeah.
Please continue.
तो वो सब डेटा तो एसेंशियली यही है कि आइडिया इसकी वो आपको फिर इतने एड से परेशान कर देंगे that you end up buying the product. That is the idea. So chalo, let's move on to the presentation again. Let's move to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
So the best example in e-commerce is Amazon.
Aage.
Yeah. So essentially, Amazon is the one which has told the entire world how you can monetize AI the best. Uske pehle AI ka itna applications, people did not understand that. Amazon was the one. So this is the, what the website looks like yesterday. I can 100% guarantee you that if you go to Amazon website right now, it's going to be different. 100% guarantee. Because Amazon website is a real life breathing organism, and based on the people's buying behavior, buying patterns and buying trends, it's constantly evolving and dynamically optimizing itself to get people to buy on the platform. As simple as that. Amazon is the one जिसने AI को इतना commercialize कर दिया and has kind of provided a template for all of the countries, all the companies in the world to follow that how you can use AI to monetize that. If you go to Amazon.com, Amazon.in right now, it's going to look completely different because it's constantly optimizing itself. जो उनका layout है, जो images है, जो category है, constantly changing them. Even the product recommendations which you see, they are being constantly changed because they are trying to test out and see if I send this product at the top, will that end up buying? If I send the second or third product at the top, will that end up buying? Because their idea is to sell as much product as possible. And this is exactly the reason why Amazon is the world's most valuable company. First 7-8 years, people thought Amazon is making losses, yet attracting so much valuation. After all these years, people are thinking it's still attracting so much valuation. The reason is what Amazon is doing, there's literally no one else in the world who can do that. But because of that, it's the most valuable company in the world right now. There's literally no one in the world which can copy Amazon in the way it's operating right now. So this is the reason, why Amazon is what it is right now. Can we move to the next slide, please? Healthcare. So this is actually one of the most fun and my personal favorite of how AI is being implemented, right? If you will truly imagine how AI is being implemented currently in healthcare, your mind will be absolutely blown. They are using AI to identify disease patterns in people, right? So obviously, right now what's happened is biotechnology and molecular biology. They've done the complete gene sequencing of a human being. They know the entire genome code, what the genome code looks like. They can also do genome splicing right now, where if they can identify the one gene which is wrong or which can create potential health hazard for the future, they can actually splice that and cut it off completely. That is the technology at which molecular biology and biotechnology has gone today in today's day and age, and they have done all that with the help of healthcare. Additionally, they are using healthcare in robotics as well, where a lot of these surgeries like neurosurgery and orthopedic surgery, they are extensively using robotics these days. Those robotic machines, they are so efficient and so accurate that even if the doctor who's operating this machine, if he makes a small error, that machine will automatically stop and won't actually go there, because especially in neurosurgery, it's extremely sensitive, delicate brain tissue, and one small pressure at any point of time, a small bleeding can cause long-term permanent mental damage to the person, right? So these devices are so smart that if a doctor makes a slight error, it automatically autocorrects and auto-adjusts itself based on the kind of AI which has been built into that. And these big medical device companies in this space, they are using AI very aggressively. You look at GE, you look at Siemens, Johnson & Johnson, it's amazing the kind of AI input that these companies are doing. In the medical diagnostic space, right? So it's literally magic. If you look at, so there are 3 years back, there's this company called AI Doc, which is Israeli originated. They started for radiology diagnostics, right? I'm going to give you more example down the line in the further images. Essentially, if you have an X-ray image or a CT scan or an MRI image, All you need to do is feed that image to these AI machines, and they'll provide you a complete diagnosis, which is 90% accurate of what a doctor would diagnose. That's how efficient these systems have become. Another potential application for that is anticipating chronic disease trajectory in patients, right? So if some person is diagnosed to have arthritis or heart disease or diabetes or whatever might be the case, basically based on the current eating habits, they already have so much data that based on the current habits, they can foresee and anticipate what the disease trajectory would look like in a person 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, what future complications could be, and based on that, they can tweak the medicines which are required. Another application which is there in this space is in terms of vaccine and medicine research, right? So one company which we were raising funds for was a Singapore-based company. They are using AI for cancer research. Essentially, the idea is that any pharmaceutical drug research requires phase 3, phase 4 clinical trials to be done, and it costs like $100 million to get the product out into the market. That's how expensive it is. So they are using AI to identify what kind of potential complications it could have, what kind of potential implications it would have with other drugs, what kind of other interactions it would have, what other symptoms, what other effects it could create. That kind of AI technology is being used right now in drug research. Even for vaccine research, it's being implemented. So the current COVID vaccine, which is being released in the market, even though a lot of people are pushing for that vaccine, I'm actually completely against it because they've not done the necessary phase 3, phase 4 trials for that product, right? And without those trials, you don't have any idea what kind of side effects that vaccines can create. That's completely under study right now. But what they are doing right now is they're using AI to identify what these future trends what these future trends could be like. So, and kind of reduce the vaccine research life cycle from 3 to 4 years and bring it down to 1 and 2 years. So imagine if this COVID had happened 5-6 years down the line, even within 1 year, they could have created a completely thorough vaccine with all the clinical trials in place, with all the research and everything done, instead of a half-ass product right now, which they are completely pushing on everyone. That is the beauty of healthcare. Can we move to the next slide, please? So this is the AI doc company, right? This company has the largest number of patents in the AI radiology space. Essentially, what they are doing is any X-ray images or CT scan images or MRI images you feed to this product, and they will completely come up with a diagnosis for the disease for you. It's going to be 90% accurate. They've tested it across hundreds of hospitals, hundreds of institutions, and they've been extremely efficient. So what has essentially happened is in radiology space, there's a huge boom of teleradiology. Essentially, what that means is the image happens at a specific physical location, but the diagnosis does not happen over there. Diagnosis happens through this teleradiology company who uses a PACS-based technology to transmit this image from the sourcing area to the area who's going to do the diagnosis. This diagnosis could be in like in India, Singapore, Malaysia, where they have people who are dedicated to doing diagnosis alone. They use this software, they use this technology to help in making the diagnosis process faster. And typically, what earlier would take like 15 to 20 minutes to go through a single scan and get the diagnosis done, now with the help of this product, they can get it done in 2 minutes. What that does is so radiologists were extremely starved, and in terms of the pressure that they were there with so many images that they would get, they would be completely incapable of going through all of those images. The AI has made it so easy for them that they can do it so easily that you can do it within 2 minutes, and now they're able to read much more designs and much more of these scans they can read. That's the beauty of AI over here. So I hope you got some idea regarding that. This is another company which is doing it for drug disease. For any drug molecules which are there, you want to get research done, you can do it through this molecule over here. Can we move to the next slide, please? So this is Nuance. So imagine this is another beautiful product. So what this product does is essentially the focus is a doctor's personal secretary. Everyone knows that doctors are have so many patients to deal with, hundreds of patients. How do we operate? Nuance has created a technology where it's like a personal voice assistant for a doctor, where each and everything which the doctor wants can be recorded. Even the person's symptoms can be recorded over here and automatically documented. The biggest healthcare problem right now is the documentation, which the doctors across the world refuse to do because of the extreme caseload that they're having, right? This product can solve that problem And down the line, what would happen is a product like this, they are going to anticipate diseases based on the symptoms entered. So essentially what you have to do is you simply mention these symptoms before this product, and they will kind of, give you a prognosis of what could be the case before you actually even end up going to the doctor. So imagine the use case that this kind of product will provide. So, this is just a small brief of what the application of AI has done in healthcare, the deep application of AI in healthcare. So if anyone has any, and this is another product for medicine research, right? AI Cure. The focus of this product is again in the medicine space, essentially identifying for paracetamol, Crocin does a 500 mg dose. Dolo does a 650 mg paracetamol dose, right? Why should you have the standard dose for everyone? It should be customized for each and every person. You can do it accordingly. That is what this company is doing. So, just a small glimpse of how much AI has deeply gone into the healthcare space. So, I would like to end this presentation right now because it's obviously kind of getting extremely technical right now. Probably we can continue it in the next session. But if there are any questions, we'll be happy to take it forward right now.
Sure, we'll be having a lot of sessions. There are two things. You have talked about some applications and some of the companies which also came in, various sectors, healthcare, etc., e-commerce, Amazon. There are a lot of Indian companies who are quite advanced in applying AI. Own and also together with joint ventures with global companies. Would you do a further research on them, and then we can have a follow-up sharing on the Indian companies who are contributing to AI. I am aware of quite a few, but we can discuss it at length in the next part of it. And the second thing is you have a very interesting input by a CA from banker Credit Suisse. Can you play it till we have the next question?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You have in your this thing inbox, you have some contribution by a top banker from Credit Suisse. Have a look at it, and since you have screen sharing rights, you can share that.
So can you play it directly, because right now I'm extremely short on battery right now. My phone could run off any time. So if I play, I would end up losing my connection right now.
Manoj, in fact, screen sharing is being done by me right now.
Okay. Then Harsh, can you forward it to? Okay, no problem.
I'm not connected with Sandeep.
Okay, since you are doing, okay. And yeah, any questions? I think you can, we can have, and in the meantime, it will be sent to before we have the next part.
Hello. Hello.
Now, particularly,
Manoj ji, Lalwani wants to ask question. Yeah, Lalwani ji.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to know. See, I'm an engineer by profession, and I've been working with certain robotic company. But I just wanted to know. I mean, like when we talk about like AI, there is this misconception, like people who are using some sophisticated software or computer systems and all. So they say कि हम तो AI का काम करते हैं. But basically, actually, AI has a deeper meaning, like it uses the natural intelligence of human being, and I mean it is used with the help of the artificial, I mean hardware and software and all. So that is what I wanted to clarify with Mr. Harsh. And secondly, I mean, since we are into our normal work, we would like to know like which all practical sites are there or the startups are there with whom we can also get associated and collect the information as we move forward.
Correct. So you're quite right over there. Unfortunately, what has happened is a lot of early stage companies and startups, you tend to use AI as a buzzword just to get that, get people listening to them, get people, they are using AI just to draw audience to their product and, to show that this is what we are doing. We're using artificial intelligence, but essentially they're doing nothing of the sort, and they have no background, there's literally nothing. So there was this one particular company who had reached out to us essentially in the hospital, not the hospital space, in the medical transcription and doctor personal secretary space. they claimed that they are doing this AI and that AI, and Manoj kind of alluded to that there are a lot of good companies who are doing an AI, and that might be true. But a lot of these, there are lots of companies out there who are complete bogus. They simply claim that they are doing AI, when in fact they are not even doing that. They just put like a small application of AI, which is not even a thorough application or a thorough understanding, but they claim that they are an AI company. There's a lot of misuse of the word happening in the market right now.
Now we talked about AI, and you talked about auto sector, EV sectors. Tata Group has done a lot of research on AI since last 10 years. And they have got good breakthroughs. Tata Motors has got good breakthroughs. TCS has got good breakthroughs. Tata Elxsi got good breakthroughs. Like that, there are over 100 companies which have got good breakthroughs in AI, and that needs to be highlighted.
Sure. So if any of the information is in the public domain, we should be able to get that information. It should not be that much of a concern. The important thing is most of this research, they tend to keep it very private. They tend to make it public.
It's in public domain, and if you, in fact, you are welcome to interact with them. They'll be glad to share insights with genuine people. I know of people who've gone and met people doing AI work and shared research work because they do a lot of sharing of AI work when they do pitches and get a good business. So a lot of information is available in public domain. I know of people. I personally interacted with lots of people, corporate on that. That's why I mentioned since 10 years. And there are driverless cars. Driverless cars. Lots of research has been done. Earlier, it was thought to be impossible, and today it is possible. And then what is used in it? AI is used, correct? And AI is by Indian companies. It's a matter of pride for us for the India growth story. You cannot have driverless cars without contribution by an Indian company. Today, that is the state of the world. Without India, you can't have AI. You cannot have driverless cars.
If there are Indian companies who are doing that, I know some myself, but if you're seeing that these large conglomerates who are doing that, we'd love to have an interaction with them as well. And, figure out how we can collaborate and ensure that, we can drive this AI even further ahead than what it is right now.
Right. Acha, Sandeep, you have got it. Contribution by Credit Suisse. Just check it out. Sandeep?
Yeah, 1 second.
She's also trying to log in, but very nice.
हर्षा जी, आपका presentation बहुत बढ़िया था. Very good.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
And we will again have some more discussion because this is the future and this is very important. So आपने अच्छा research किया और you are in that line also. So we must appreciate your efforts.
Highly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And worked very hard. I wonder what time Harsh slept last night. Harsh, can you share?
ज़्यादा लेट नहीं, मतलब 12:30 1 बजे सो गया था मैं.
But हर्षा अभी लोनावाल में है, वो तो तकलीफ ही नहीं है उधर. हाँ. So he can enjoy the nature and also prepare something for us to knowledge.
Bit curfew over here.
I'm sharing nature now. I've taken the mobile onwards. Yeah, Deepashri Shanbag. Sandeep from Credit Suisse.
I can't see any forward by you.
There is a, just see.
No, what you sent was Paddy's music.
Just check out.
What you sent was Paddy's music.
Yeah, just play it. Just play it. From Credit Suisse. It's a 2-minute video.
It says you need permission. Ask for owner for access.
1 second. And you will get it. She's trying to connect, but you will get it.
right now.
Now, in the meantime, in fact, till that gets sorted out, to actually have some interest. Sorry, okay. To have some interest while we go along.
Sandeep, you would have got it?
Yeah, your request for access has been sent.
Yeah, you are getting.
Oh, yeah. Just 1 second, I'll put it on. Till I do it, in fact, the chart on the screen, and this is what Manoj was alluding to, where I said I've not given out what will happen of the Nifty going forward. This is not a forward-looking guidance of what will happen, but the only thing which I want you to see is that there is a triangle which is formed when you are joining these two bottoms and hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are hearing Sandeep.
Joining the two bottoms as well as the tops. And where the Nifty is now in a position, if it goes up, or rather I should say, if it goes down below this, the chances are that it will fall another 550 points. If it goes up, it could go up 550 points above this level. So the above level is approximately 14,700, and the lower level is 14,300. So add or subtract 550 from there, each of those levels, you can actually arrive at the likelihood of where the Nifty will end up in the next few days. So if it falls 550 down below 14,300. Now let me see whether I've got that.
Sandeep, are you in?
Sandeep is there. संदीप जी क्या हो गए हैं?
Can you see it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Wonderful.
Voice is not heard.
That is what I'm trying to see. Why it is not? The voice is not heard.
Otherwise, madam भी आने दो आगे.
I don't know why.
We have to hear her in her own voice.
There is a voice button.
The voice is full actually. Hello?
क्या वॉइस रिकॉर्ड नहीं हो गया?
तो वॉइस तो है फुल एक्चुअली.
You need to accept.
सर कीबोर्ड पे म्यूट बटन नहीं दबाया ना?
नहीं.
और कोई ब्लूटूथ कनेक्ट नहीं किया है ना? आपका आवाज आ रहा है, शायद वो ब्लूटूथ की वजह से नहीं आता हो.
ऐसा है क्या?
हाँ ट्राई करो सर. आपको सुनाई दे रहा है क्या?
नहीं, मुझे सुनाई नहीं
किसको
दे
भी
रहा है.
सुनता नहीं है. आप संदीप जी, आपका एक बार डालने के बाद यू म्यूट करना तो ऑटोमेटिकली आता है. What is that? He is telling like that only, no?
He maybe his connection is with the Bluetooth, so that's why.
Oh.
No, but I should be able
Maybe.
to hear.
Well, I am not an IT expert. I'm just doing a jugaad. I'm just trying.
We have always succeeded.
Don't know. My knowledge of IT is Rahul Gandhi knowledge of auditing.
Manoj ji, she is from the Credit Suisse. She herself is doing this.
Banker, a chartered accountant, young professional.
हाँ, तो उनको invite करिए. Next, we'll hear from her.
Yeah. And Sandeep, can I share the screen? It is showing only the host can share as of today. Now.
No, that in fact he can also allow you to share. Aditya can allow you to share.
If you can do it, I will try. But you try, I think, because it will happen faster.
No, it is not happening. I don't know why.
I am getting only the host can share. And there is an excellent message from a young banker and a chartered accountant. And they are all going to share presentations on innovative topics also.
No, you can actually see her, right? That is the whole.
Yeah, but there is an excellent message.
Okay.
If it is not coming, we'll proceed to the आपका next आप पता है ना schedule 3. Last time थोड़ा discuss किया था हमने.
Just 1 minute. एक बार last में मैं करता हूँ and I'll try.
And see if you can allow here also.
I'm sorry.
As of now, we are getting only the host can share. Can give sharing rights to others, then we can share.
Sandeep sir, very simple solution. Get it on your mobile, play it on your mobile, keep it near your speaker, your mouthpiece. We will able to hear.
Yeah, that will work.
We will not see the screen, but we will hear the song which she is playing.
The screen also.
That's the most simplistic thing I think we can do with common sense.
Prakash, and you can see the screen also. But then
you can send this mobile to on mobile to Manoj ji also. He also can play from his speaker.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, just put it near the speaker where you are speaking and where. Yeah, we can hear.
It will come.
Little more closer.
Wow.
भाविक तुम्ही डडाव नाही.
Wonderful.
So idea work. Nice voice.
Credit Suisse is a large employer of Indian professionals, and they are all contributing to India growth story. So we'll be having presentation soon also how Indian professionals are helping foreign banks, although they have a foreign name, contribute to India growth story. Their brains are Indians. Brains are Indian. Natural intelligence and art both. Yeah. Now we have the chart. Sandeep, we are discussing the Nifty chart, right?
Yeah, so I was discussing the Nifty chart, and again, I want to just harp on the disclaimer which I always give, because this is a forward-looking statement where I'm saying that I don't want to hazard a guess where the market will go tomorrow, but the scene is that if it goes down below 14,300, it could end up 550 points down. And if it goes above 14,700, it could again go to 15,250 levels. But looking at where we are, it is actually taking support at those zones. So let's see that the next few days will give us an indication of what will happen.
So far, we have seen the chart you have shown shows consolidation taking place after a long time. Earlier consolidation happened in September, then there was a takeoff. Again, now consolidation is happening. Now there are two reasons for it. One is result season has started now. A lot of results will start coming in, and there were some concerns about a second wave, which is in limited areas, but that will give a bigger kickoff when the lockdown is over. So there's a huge pent-up demand will come. And on this markets, maybe there could be another breakout or consolidation, sectoral rotation. We need to see the sectoral chart. And before that, Rajesh Kothari is here with us. Rajesh Kothari is looking after lots of activities of think tank, and he's a media expert. Rajesh, you are in? Rajesh Kothari, can you put your video on? Achha, I would say he has shared the OFS for Hathway cable. That is a part of a Reliance Geo stable, part of Reliance. It's a subsidiary with over 75% holding by the Reliance group. So there was a requirement by SEBI. So they needed to come with a OFS to reduce the stake to 75%. Hathway was taken over. Hathway cable was taken over by the Reliance Industries group a few years ago. So OFS is opening at a very attractive, compelling price based on the charts, and results are open public domain. So this is what he has shared with us, and have a look at it. The latest developments, the announcement just came on Friday, yesterday evening, on the QIP OFS offer for sale for Hathway. Promoters have to reduce stake to 75% to comply with the SEBI requirement. That was a condition given for consolidation and mergers in the group.
Okay, this is the last
schedule 3, and then remember if we can.
Sorry.
You carry. I think Sandeep ji.
Okay. This is the last part of the section where we are going to discuss the amendment to the Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. And, you know, one of the things which, if you look at all the sections together, sum and substance, I would, you know, summarize in only one word, and that is governance. I think all of these are actually towards good governance practices to be laid out for corporates. First is reclassification of all current maturities of the long-term borrowings as short-term borrowings rather than being shown as current liabilities. So that is one of the things which is there. The next one is note on property and plant and equipment and intangible assets. There will be an additional disclosure which will be required where any revaluation which is done, if the change is 10% or more in the aggregate, then it will be reflected as a disclosure. Again, in terms of, and this is a very good, this is one of the good things which have come in. A lot of companies, what they do is to show higher profits, they show capital work in progress. And this capital work in progress goes down years and years. It is not reflected.
Virus attacks respiratory.
Whoever is speaking, can you please mute yourself, please? So what is essentially here is that they will have to reflect when these intangible assets or capital work in progress will turn into actually assets. That will give an indication where, you know, whether that actually is a work in progress or it's just to hike up profitability. Then you have long-term trade receivables. So you'll have to disclose whether it is disputed, undisputed, receivables which are considered good or considered doubtful. And again, as has been the case, whether it is 6 months, 6 months to a year, year to 2 years, 2 years to 3 years, and more than 3 years. So that classification will come in. In terms of utilization of borrowings, there will be, again, clear-cut guidelines on disclosure, whether or not the amount received by way of borrowing has been utilized to the correct manner and for the correct purposes, and not in terms of, like, for example, given to related parties or any other transactions. So I think this is more to do with the Punjab National Bank case where things went haywire. Things, or rather you can also say, for example, the PMC bank problems which they were facing, where the loans were given to HDIF straight away and utilized somewhere else. So more or less trying to keep this classification where long-term borrowings will have to be shown in a proper manner. Then you have, again, as I was referring to related parties, what all things are given to related parties, and that will have to be disclosed. So the changes, for example, the disclosure, the financial statement shall also cover certain disclosures in respect of the following transactions: whether the entity has been declared a willful defaulter by any bank or financial institution, whether any entity has entered into a transaction with such entities whose name has been struck off under Section 248 of the Act, whether any charge is pending to be registered with the Registrar of Companies. This again is a prudent step in the right direction.
Yeah, Sandeep, 1 second. Go back to the slide on register of charges, etc. Yeah. Now, this is, as Sandeep said, it is very vital and a prudent step Now, what is very important here, it is very, very useful from IBC angle. There are lots of cases in IBC which we are aware of, and the charges are there, but there are many of the charges are not registered with the registrar companies. When the funds are raised, whether through bank borrowings, subject to the terms of term sheet and covenants, also by way of NCDs, listed NCTs. It's a huge market. Over 1 lakh crores has been raised by various NBFCs, which they tell you when they commit the RHP that they are secured. There are very few, just about 10%, which are not secured, but 90% are secured. Unsecured, there is a little higher interest. And they tell you secured, and they also tell you the rating is AAA or AA plus or something like that. And the condition is covenants are there, which needs a trust deed, and it requires registration or charges. Now, we have seen many cases which we'll be discussing in detail on an ongoing basis, where the charges is supposed to be 110%. But they say we'll register with the registrar companies every 6 months. And in every 6 months, as per the current listing agreement with the stock exchanges, in the half-yearly results, they are supposed to disclose the security cover also. Now, when you go to the registrar's office, these are public documents available for a small fee. They are not available because they have not filed the charges. So listed entities, how secure they are. You go to the debenture trustees, they say company is not cooperating and we have not got a document which is filed with the registrar companies. They say we will file it for registrar companies, but we will not give it to you. And we have often talked about, the good, bad and ugly. The good companies, they will, even if they default on FDs unsecured, they will ensure the FDs holder is paid off money. And there are companies where you are talking about 100% security and a very good rating, which gets downgraded suddenly just suddenly one day, whatever time, and then registrar and the charge is not registered with the registrar companies, and when you go, then you see the security cover is 0.8, and that also assets which are yet to be impaired. And listed debentures they start quoting at discounts, and there are lots of rumors and all that. So this is very, very vital from the practical issues in terms of corporate sector, and also willful defaulters. All the willful defaulters will not be publicly shamed through the amendment to Schedule 3. Now we come to know in media, so-and-so company is a willful defaulter, or so-and-so person has run away to London, and deportation proceedings are going on. And one fine day they'll be deported, God knows when, because these are litigation issues and it takes years. But this is a key amendment. Sandeep, when is this amendment applicable?
No, I'm not sure about it.
Okay.
Hello?
It needs to be notified, and hopefully it gets effective immediately. So hopefully in the June results, hopefully we should get all this data.
That's right. Yeah, definitely in the June data, it should be there.
So a lot of new things will come
Hopefully.
out. Yes,
Hopefully,
we'll cover in detail in company analysis some of the good, bad and ugly.
Yeah.
Data.
Yeah, so the next one is, layers of subsidiaries. In fact, this is one more thing which always...
Sandeep ji,
Haji.
This is effective from 1st April 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it is already effective, which means it will
Yes.
be for the June quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
So here is a case where there are restrictions on a company with regard to the number of layers of subsidiaries. In case a company that has not complied with the number of layers, the name and SIN number of the company beyond the specified layers shall be disclosed as part of the financial statements of an entity. So if there are too many subsidiaries, there is a jumbled up, क्या बोलते हैं, a maze, as you call it, of subsidiaries, then those will have to be disclosed.
Right, maze or a web, like spiders, they web in the middle of the night. There are webs and they are deliberately waved, whether through financial planning or tax planning or through tax havens or the actual promoter stake.
I just, when I was reading this, I came to just one conclusion. It's like Arjuna's son going into that, chamber, and he goes in and he's not able to come out. And that's how it is in terms of subsidiaries. So if the regulators go in and try to check, they won't get anything. So that's a problem which one has.
I think you are referring to a chakra view, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you need to learn the secret of coming out.
Yeah, correct. So
there are top companies. See, there are good, bad, and ugly. There are many companies like Reliance Industries. All the subsidiaries put together today are over 8,000 pages. Now they are taking steps, and they have also announced officially that they'll be taking steps to reduce the number of subsidiaries. This amendment to Schedule 3 came later. Another company in Tata Group also, Tata Steel, they said they'll reduce the number of subsidiaries by way of consolidation and acquisitions. But when they acquired Chorus, there were much more companies created because of funding issues and planning also. Similarly, Tata Motors has got huge number of subsidiaries. Now, now there are various subsidiaries at Schedule C6, direct subsidiaries or through layers, which is a Chakravyu, as we said, a maze or a web. So, and there are many small companies also, they do it. Some do it for dubious reasons. To hide a promoter stake, they may be holding only 2%, 3% promoter stake, but through via they'll be showing much higher. So these are schemes. Hopefully the schemes will be exposed. The ugly will be exposed, and the good companies, of course, they will keep on reducing the number of layers and transparency and have higher price to book multiple, which we discussed in while doing company analysis. Good point.
Okay, Sandeep and Manoj, I am taking I'm getting off.
Okay.
So we had covered this last time also, but now he's making a good presentation. It is a very useful. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mr. Narendra. Excellent contribution by you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
The next one is the company has to disclose all these ratios which are highlighted on the slide. And then regarding CSR expenditure, the companies will disclose the amount required to be spent by the company, amount incurred, shortfall, and then total of the previous year's shortfall which are there and the reasons thereof. So, and the nature of the CSR activity which has been done. So those are the things. More importantly, and this is of interest because this is a hot topic. Cryptocurrencies is something which people might see in the next few quarters, being whether you call it banned or whatever it is, and or the company will, or rather the government will give you, whoever is holding it, a mode where you can exit. All companies who are holding cryptocurrencies will have to disclose it in their accounts. So that is one more reason why this amendment is coming in.
This also removes a doubt in some things about whether investing in crypto is legitimate or not allowed.
Correct.
Because now data is being collected, at least corporates, and India will lead in terms of transparency and regulation in crypto and blockchain also, Bitcoins also.
This was a topic which was discussed earlier, and this has been shifted from this year to the next year, where audit trail should be there in all the softwares which are used for accounting purposes by the corporate sector, especially the listed companies.
This is a vital thing on trail. A lot of ugly companies using it, and they were distorting the trails.
Yeah, and without actually getting approvals from the higher ups for making those changes.
Exactly.
So it used to go unnoticed, and now that trail will come in. But unfortunately, the government has allowed the software manufacturers or the software developers to actually make those changes before that is implemented in the next year.
It's a very good amendment from the angle of the accounting profession worldwide.
Absolutely.
Which the profession, whether management accounting or tax accounting.
Details of proceedings under the IBC will have to be disclosed. So if there is any pending issues regarding IBC, those will have to be disclosed in the notes, the accounts.
Again, a very important amendment. Lots of companies, thousands of companies under. Companies are under that.
And then there are valuation differences. The company's amendment rules 2021 require details of the difference between the amounts of the valuation done at the time of one settlement and the valuation done while taking a loan from the banks or the financial institutions, along with the reasons thereof. This is a very, very important amendment, and this is going to be a long, drawn-out process where everyone will have to get involved in this. Wherever things have gone off without being checked, those will come in line. The other thing which comes to mind in this circumstances, not only will, I think, is it the next slide? No. Not only the valuation, but who is doing the valuation is also important. So quite possible that down the line, the government will bring in practices where they might involve, empaneled valuers to get these things done. So if that comes in, it's all the more better because there'll be a standardized process for the valuation.
Now this valuation, as you mentioned, it's a very big gray area. Who valuation, how it is used, who audits, and what type of knowledge the auditor has. And we have seen there are valuation courses, and even we know many people who have passed valuation courses with very high marks, they have practically zero knowledge of real life experience in valuations. Passing a course is very easy. Any 21-year-old boy can pass it, or a person who calls himself an expert in IBC, he can say, I have done a course in valuation. But there is zero practical knowledge of valuation is done. People don't even know the difference of valuation between investment bankers and people who just prepare some Excel sheet and prepare it for a certification for some remittance abroad or inward remittance. So a very big area. We wonder whether this should have been brought in or should have been kept out of the system, whether auditors have knowledge about this subject and to what extent CFOs and audit committees have the domain knowledge to understand this process. But the ground has been set. Rules are there. Rules have to be implemented by way of more of substance and forms. We just hope audit committee members get much more domain knowledge and also the CFOs and auditors to understand the real aspects, practical real life issues of evaluations which are being covered by think tank in physical conferences and digital since a very, very long time. Very, very eye-opener amendment. Whether it should be there or not, time will tell, and hopefully there will be further modifications and refinements.
Yeah. In fact, I've ended the presentation, but I would like to propose a big thanks to Santosh Malar, Anurag, Aishwarya, Hemant, Nitesh, Ramesh, Vijay, Yogesh, and in fact, Mr. M. Narendra, who was there. And also, what I would suggest is, in fact, Mr. Narendra or I were actually bringing out issues which we thought are something which we need to discuss. I would urge each one of you to actually come forward and ask your questions, so that it is quite possible that what is in your mind might not have struck us in asking those questions, and at the same time, the matters get resolved for the group as a whole. So I think more and more questions asked is better. So please come forward and start asking questions.
It's all
Thank
about
you.
sharing experiences. Sandeep, last word, can you share your thoughts on latest on Bitcoins for 2 minutes?
In the sense you want
Not a slide. If you can just share your thoughts, or on investing.com, if you can just share the latest price and the trend for the last 3 months. Nice.
Okay.
Since we discussed crypto.
So
crypto is a part of Companies Act also now. Just look at the chart for last 1 month and 3 months. That is the eye opener. Every day there is big development on Bitcoin price movement. There is huge fund selling and buying both.
Yeah, I know. From what I had gone through a report. And just before the fall, in fact, just before the fall which took place recently, that report had suggested, and very rightly so, they had actually specified that the Bitcoin prices would fall to approximately 40,000. And it's a no-brainer on why the prices are falling. You saw the prices of the Dow as well as the other constituents of the S&P as well as Nasdaq falling on Thursday, not yesterday. They moved up yesterday, but this report on capital gains hike by the U.S. government generally has inserted a sense of fear on whether or not these guys who are holding Bitcoins will have to actually pay a higher amount in the next year if these are not sold right now. So what is happening is there is a lot of selling happening on Bitcoins, and here it is. Look at that fall. From a level of 63,374.
Sandeep, sorry, your earlier presentation is we are able to see.
All right, sorry. I'm going to share this.
And the chart can't be seen.
Now? You can see it now?
Excellent. Wonderful. Great. What is the period of the chart?
This is from 16 February 2021 to the latest.
Okay. This shows huge volatility.
I'm sorry?
Huge volatility is seen.
Yeah.
Makes it more exciting.
So the volatility, in fact, was dependent on a hedge for inflation, where bond prices were going up, and there were two factors: either buy Bitcoin or either buy gold. People were preferring Bitcoins. Now what has happened is you have this problem of capital gains tax, which might be levied by the US government, where they are talking of doubling the amount of capital gains tax on capital gains. So you're seeing what has happened. The one thing which you should keep in mind, look at the volume. The volumes have fallen, which only means people who are actually desperate to sell and want to come out of the Bitcoins, they have sold. The price has not fallen on big volumes.
Sandeep, can we have a 1 year chart possible?
Yes, I think so.
1 year or longer?
Look at this.
Since March, if we can get, since the pandemic started last year. Yeah.
Or I can do it on a weekly charts. Here it is.
Let's have a 1 year view. Let's see 1 year volatility.
This is a 1 year view starting 5th of January 2020
Okay.
to the 4th of April 2021.
So there is a clear uptrend, very clear uptrend.
Very clear uptrend, except for one instance where the price, if I remember right, from 40,000 it fell down to 30,000. Here it is.
In September.
This was in February. The price fell from 58,000 to 45,000, and even here, this was on the 3rd in January, where the price fell from 41,616 to approximately 28,991. So there were instances you can't have markets going up all the time. There have been corrections, and that strengthens the market. So things, the prices have gone up, but this crash is something which people were taken by surprise, and panic sellers have sold into this the bitcoins right now, and that is very evident from the volume patterns.
So we can say it's profit booking, but what we are seeing is over the year, volumes are increasing, more interest is coming both from institutional and retail investors.
Yeah, if you see here.
Are coming as the industry grows, and there will be more transparency, which will drive actually much more investment. And for Bitcoins, whether it was last year or whether investment in December or January, investors have made money. Hopefully, today there are lots of startups in India, innovative startups which are offering huge discounts on trading and also for buying this as an emerging asset class. So it's a wonderful presentation, wonderful insights. Anybody in this open house has any issues before we close? Everybody is welcome to raise a hand, put the videos on, last 5 minutes before we close. Everybody is welcome to put video on, raise any issues. Lots of innovative ideas, innovative issues, latest developments are being discussed regularly.
You want to say something, Mr. Venugopal? You're
on, identify and introduce yourself.
You're on mute, Mr. Venugopal.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir. Okay, thank you, sir. I am Venugopal from Tamil Nadu, sir, Coimbatore district.
Yeah.
Very good session, very useful session.
We are just about to say vote of thanks, but welcome to come in and have an excellent close.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Abhi open house chalu hai, open house.
Sorry.
Ajao.
Very useful session, sir.
You are in? You are in? हाँ, चालू है.
Yeah, Mr. Venugopal, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Acha, Mr. Paddy is joining in. He joined. Anybody else? Manali, where is Manali?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Welcome.
Okay.
Put your video on.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you and see you as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, very useful session. A lot of new development is I know very very intelligent section, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks.
Put your video on and share about yourself. It will be very nice.
If there are any more suggestions which you have on any topics, please let us know.
You can share on all social media. Paddy is trying to connect for a couple of minutes. Vikas, you're connected? We can see lots of CEOs. Vikas, Mahesh Fogla, Tushar. Anybody has any thoughts? We just wait for a couple of minutes. If anybody has any thoughts, please share. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Connect.
Yeah, connect. We are waiting for you. We already called you.
Yes, sir. But I'm on the.
Hello? 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 We already invited you.
I am not in connector. I am just connecting.
Okay, connect. Connect quickly.
I need the number from the mobile, sir. मैं आपसे बात करूँगा तो मेरे को number नहीं मिलेगा.
हाँ, ले लो. Okay. Yeah, Paddy is connecting. Sandeep?
Yes.
How do you see the regulations moving forward on Bitcoins globally and in India?
I have been a proponent of actually the governments actually coming out with digital currencies themselves. So from my point of view, what I'm looking at is these, and you have this question mark continuously on who's coming out with these coins, right? We don't know who issues these coins. So specifically, the idea has been, and with all governments, to come out with digital currency themselves. So once that comes in, and there have been many, governments who have been actually focusing on whether it should be backed by gold or whether they should come out with currency as it is. But going forward, I think if that happens, and that is bound to happen, I'm 100% sure that has to happen. And if that happens, there'll be no, Bitcoins and other coins. The platform will be the same for the currencies. In the sense, it'll have to be on a blockchain drive for all the currencies which are exchanged, whether I pay in the currency, the electronic currency, through a coin, which will be issued by the government rather than a private individual, or we don't know who. So that's how I feel the things will go ahead.
Now, the trend worldwide is, we see even companies like Facebook are investing in companies which such cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is, just one of the cryptocurrencies, and there'll be regulations, then not ownership. And we actually, the market knows who are the owning this cryptocurrency.
No, the issue is,
Anybody
I'm
can,
talking of, sorry.
Anybody can form a corporate and within the regulatory mechanism and start a business with mining and start a trading. And ultimately they will be regulated rather than taken over by maybe communist countries or some limited countries. They may issue their own, but transparency is very important. It is
exactly.
Patty has joined and he has benefited from the discussion on Bitcoins and crypto. Patty, Sandeep, can you give him screen sharing rights?
I'm not sure how to give that.
Yeah, and Patty, share a few thoughts. Maybe
no, I'm anyway seeing his screen.
I'm sorry?
I'm anyway seeing your screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Patty, we are all waiting for your thoughts.
My thoughts on this, sir. I just entered.
I know.
I've not even listened to Sandeep for a second.
We are waiting for your thoughts. We need to learn a lot from you. Latest
I would rather listen today than speak. I've already spoken for the last 3 hours in that conference call, the international call, and
share a few lines and inspire out all of us live.
Sir, Bitcoins, जो चीज मेरे को समझ में आता है उसमें मैं इंस्पायर कर दूंगा ना. ये चीज तो मैं समझ रहा हूँ. ये चीज तो मैं समझ रहा हूँ. I want to understand from Sandeep. मैं फटाफट इसके लिए आया.
See the chat.
The minute you called me on phone,
yes,
saying that boss, this topic is going on, मैं इसके लिए जल्दी आया.
Right.
Topic, so that I can pick up Sandeep's brain a little more.
Right.
In fact, we were discussing the Bitcoin movement, the price of Bitcoins. It is on the screen. If you can, if you are able to.
Yeah, I'm able to see. I'm observing.
The time horizon which is there is from 5th of January 2020 to the current date.
Yeah.
And you will see that, across, except for some blips, the prices have gone up. And if you look at it that way, this is in US dollars, not even Indian rupees.
Correct.
So the converted price is, extraordinary. So what has happened, I was telling, the participants, that the fall which you saw during the last few days, in fact, has been due to, Bloomberg, actually, of all things, Bloomberg coming out with a report saying that the capital gains tax in the US will be hiked or maybe doubled. And that's the reason why the prices have fallen. But it looks like the prices fell because desperate sellers were selling. The volumes were not that much when these prices fell. So these are desperate sellers, not really long-term investors.
Yeah, and so this fall seems to be only a market discounting the rumor and coming down. It is not a long-term.
I don't think it will be a rumor. It will definitely come about because if they want to actually have a $3 trillion infrastructure development fund which comes up for the US, where will they bring the money from? So obviously they have to look out for sources of revenue. So from that point of view, they will have to raise revenues, they will have to raise taxes. And if you have heard Trump saying that, he was always saying that Biden, when he comes in, will increase taxes. So,
yes,
so that is something which is a given, which is already discounted. So I think that is what is going to happen. But whether it is he'll double the amount or not is a question and point.
But I'm happy to see this graph, except for the temporary fall, because I have not known much about Bitcoins, but my son seems to have invested on this.
Okay.
So I can now see that he's made a lot of money out of it.
So today we had lots of young professionals.
Yes,
they are much smarter. Younger.
They are much smarter. They are much smarter.
Yeah, making more money.
No, today's discussion on AI was very, very good. And Paddy, I think if you go to YouTube and actually see the session, it went on very well. Actually,
I have that
it
link.
was amazing. Yeah, if you
I have to
the
go through
link-
that.
Yeah, so it was very, very interesting.
And we had a wonderful message from Shanbag of Credit Suisse, chartered accountant and a banker.
Okay.
Thanks to you. We had a wonderful message from her. And we are looking forward to her next time and sharing her wonderful thoughts and presentation on
So
how.
from Deepa, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
Deepika
Shanbag बोलोगे तो
Shanbag.
मैं नहीं समझता ना Deepa.
Deepika Shanbag.
Deepa.
Credit Suisse.
Yeah, correct.
She is helping Credit Suisse contribute to India growth story.
सब ऐसे ही करते थे. She doesn't help me in increasing my wealth. She only helps Credit Suisse.
Your wealth is melodies, music.
No, which is very, very essential in these times. I don't know, even when I'm working, I put on music on the side and listen to it when I'm working. So that is something which is an essential right now in the present phase.
Very much, yes. You're
Next
right.
time, Patty, we would love you to open the session.
We'll see next time.
Right.
Okay, sir.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot to all the participants.
जितना time मिलता है ना, all Saturdays we are working.
Right.
Luckily, I got a letter saying that mine is essential service. So we are making the most of it.
That's good.
And when I had COVID, which was last month, when my doctor told me, probably because of your singing, there is so much of breathing exercise going on that your infection is very mild. Maybe because of that.
Possible. So Manoj, can we? It's 2:00. Can we close?
Yes, we should. So thank you, Manoj sir.
Thanks for all. Thanks for everyone who has come in and participated. In fact, thanks to Harsh for his lovely, presentation on AI, and this will be useful for the next round. And we look forward to his taking another session on that in the coming future. Thank you. Thanks all for attending. Thank you. Manoj, you are on mute.
Yeah, Manoj is on mute.
Yeah, especially to Santosh for his excellent contribution.
Yeah, Santosh
and
is there,
Aishwari,
yes.
they are watching quietly behind the scenes. Excellent contribution by them too. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Be safe.
Take care and
Bye-bye.
stay safe. Thank you.
Sandeep, you need to end the session.
Yeah.
Yeah. You end the meeting.